Art special teams have lacked a little bit for West High School. Dane DeMebo will put his right foot into the football, and there it goes. We're underway from Carpenter, 6-0 and ranked second in the state. Let's see how Derby stands up to that mark. Receiving at the 5 to the 10 up the middle, 15 is Rusher. Crossing the 20 goes Aaron, before he's knocked down chest high at about the 25-yard line. Took it right at the maroon and gold special teams coverage, which was good for Weston Schartz, and now Derby has it first down and 10. Traveling once again right to left, spot the football officially at the 26-yard line. Tom Shaw will quarterback, 6'1", 172. He's a junior. Behind him, tailback Aaron Rusher, an outstanding player. And in front of him at fullback, not bad either, senior Jason Stevens. Receiver split left, Billy Weiss. Wide to the right, Russell Parskell, the flanker. 4 to 5 men on the line of scrimmage defensively for West. First play, toss sweep left side. Rusher turns the corner, 25. Up close to the 30. He'll be stopped shy of that yard marker at about the 28, maybe the 29-yard line. Reading run from his cornerback position, making the hit for West. Toby Drury. Kenny McCoy, the defensive end, got him from behind. It'll be 2nd and 7, 3-yard pickup on the first run from Aaron Rusher.
West does a nice job on the ends of stretching it to the sideline. Good fundamental football. Kenny McCoy and Keith Reed will step up, take on their block, and give it time, make the rusher go to the outside for the defensive backs to come in and make the tackle.
Just getting started, a minute in, no score. Left hash driving right to left is Derby. 2 men behind Tom Shaw, Rusher, and this time the fullback Stevens, who gets the call off right tackle, has a hole, crosses the 30, and is close to the 35-yard line before being dragged down by Keith Reed, the defensive end, from behind. A pickup on the play of 6 yards to the 35, and it sets up 3rd down and a long one for the Panthers.
Nice play calling. They recognize that Keith Reed is not going to commit to the outside or the inside too quickly, so they're going to mix it up on him. He did a good job standing up at the line of scrimmage, reading the play, and making the tackle.
I formation out. First true I look for Derby. A 3rd and a yard and a half from its own 35-yard line. That's Rusher standing straight up behind Stevens, both behind Tom Shaw, who takes from center. Pitch play, right side Rusher. Pursuit is there, and they knock him down short of the first down initially. He fights forward for the extra yardage, and only in the half-yard line, which was what he needed for a new set of downs. Linebacker Sean Jay, a junior, made the initial hit from his position, the right side. And it will be, I believe, a timeout for measurement. 10:08 left first quarter. And already a key decision made here. Should Derby not get it, I would imagine, this early, Tom Young will punt. Let's just see what the yard marker says. 4th down and about a half yard.
Again, nice defense by the West Pioneers. They stood up at the line of scrimmage. The defensive backs pursued from their cornerback positions far side and drug him down behind the line of scrimmage.
Great defensive stand. Let's mention the defensive starters for the Pioneers. Keith Reed, Kenny McCoy, your ends. Jerry Corner, Devin DeMebo are the defensive tackles. Jeff Van Horn, the nose guard. Sean Fossil and Sean Jay are the pair of linebackers. Cornerbacks, Toby Drury, Ron Stubbs. Safety, Clint May, he's a free safety. Mike Smallwood, a strong safety starter for Coach Weston Schartz. Not gambling this early. Derby will kick the football away after failing on 3rd and short. Good defensive stand for the Pioneers, and now punting the football will be Shelby Wehrman. Very short kick, line drive taken 36-yard line by Drury, and he runs sideways and is knocked down after a gain of maybe a yard or 2 on the punt return as senior Toby Drury took the kick. Not much blocking, and he's hauled down, but still good field position for the home team tonight. Wichita West High School now driving left to right at their own 38-yard line.
You're in excellent field position. If Weston Schartz' team is going to stay in this ball game, the thing they need to do is stay around their 40-yard line. They cannot be buried deep, be forced to kick from their own end zone, and give Derby great field position in their half of the field.
That's Rory Bryan, the junior quarterback, a co-captain. Out with his team, I formation, Lydell Flowers and Kenny McCoy behind him. 4-man defensive front for Derby. 9:35 left first quarter. We're still scoreless. First play from scrimmage for the Pioneers. Flag comes down. Give to McCoy. Nothing up the middle, so he turns it outside left and has good yardage. Down the sideline across the 40, across the 45. He's close to a first down, but told everything. A flag came down out where the receiver was standing. The man split wide right in the offense, and that was Toby Drury.
I also saw the right guard, Daryl Holt, jump off bounds as well. Offside, rather.
And it is procedure against West High School. So that wipes out a 10-yard first down pickup for fullback Kenny McCoy, 6 foot, 215 pounds. Flowers is a tailback, 6'1", 175, a junior. Both, of course, will line up all night behind quarterback Rory Bryan. Up front, they have at left tackle Josh Parker, the key at 6'5", 290. Right tackle Ross Forletter, 6'3", 250. Tom Bloom and Daryl Holt, your pair of senior guards. The starting anchor in that front wall is Nate Hendren, a 6 foot, 235-pound junior. Rotating at wide receiver, Ron Stubbs and Toby Drury. The tight end will be Keith Reed. He's 6'4", 220, a great blocker, can catch as well. And the Z-back The wild card in the offense is Clint May. He's a senior. 1st and 15, 33-yard line, Wichita West. Driving left to right in their first possession, still haven't run an official play from scrimmage. In motion, Stubbs, pitch play, Flowers, right side. Good pursuit, though, by Derby. This play is going to go nowhere. Fumbled football at the 28-yard line. It'll be picked up at the 24 to the 20 and down at the 18-yard line. Big turnover early as middle linebacker Jason Young picks up a loose pigskin. The fumbled football popped out of the arms of tailback Lydell Flowers. He wasn't going to get anything anyway, but to make matters worse, he lost the football in the process.
The minute the ball was snapped, the backfield was a sea of white jerseys. They were all over the place. Lydell Flowers had nowhere to go, was hit. Nice effort trying to get to the outside. Unfortunately, he forgot about the football. This is the situation they didn't want to be in, giving Derby outstanding field position deep in their own territory.
And now the Panthers try to capitalize. Backfield once again is quarterback Tom Shaw, tailback Aaron Rusher, fullback Jason Stevens from the West 18. First snap, a slow developing play, give to Rusher, and he is tripped up at the line of scrimmage, got a yard at most. Keith Reed got him by the ankles. Jerry Corner also doing a great job on the left side of the Pioneers defensive line. Minimal gain for Rusher. Give him a yard at best. 8:35 left first quarter. We're scoreless, but because of the Flowers fumble, Derby is in good position.
Once again, give credit to Keith Reed on that play. He stood up straight, read the play, didn't commit either way until he knew where the back was going and was able to hold him for a minimal gain.
Wide left, Bill Veachin for the first time at split end. The flanker goes wide right, Russell Parskell. The ball on the left hash mark as Derby goes right to left in the straight eye this time behind Tom Shaw. He looks at the 5-man defensive front, fakes a sweep, back to pass over the middle, man open 10 at the 5 into the end zone, touchdown Derby High School. Joe Norwood, the tight end, slipped off the line of scrimmage. No one covered him, caught the ball at the 8-yard line and then lumbered into the end zone. 17-yard pass from quarterback Tom Shaw to senior tight end Joe Norwood with 8:09 left in the first quarter. The Panthers set up by the fumble by Lydell Flowers on the board first.
Garen, you saw right there just how concerned the Pioneers are with Rusher. A good fake by the quarterback, turned, Norwood was open, nice drag play, easy touchdown.
On to attempt the extra point, Jason Kemp, a left footer. Look at this. Hold from Jason Young is good. The kick is up, and it will sail wide right, no good. That might be a big play. 8:09 left first quarter, 6-0. Derby, the second-ranked team in Class 6A football, out in front of the Wichita West Pioneers. You're listening to the Game of the Week on KQAM. It's District's time. My name is Garen Emick. Brian Sexton with me, and we'll return. We won't return. We'll stay here.
You know, one thing that you'll find out about high school football in Wichita real quickly is that they come right out.
Thanks.
I mean, they're ready to kick it off real quick.
Thanks for letting me know.
No problem. Don't want to miss the kickoff. One thing that we saw right there, Garen, as we were saying, is Shaw has an outstanding ability for the play fake. Norwood on that drag. The linebackers committed to Rusher way too quickly. They just faked it to him, threw it up, and it was an easy score. A varied offense certainly is the key to a great team. You look at the better college teams, Miami, Michigan, Notre Dame, they can run the ball as well as pass, and this is what Tom Shaw and the rest of the Derby Panthers have. A lot of depth, a lot of ability, and if you're going to stop them, you're not going to do it just through the run.
Kicking right to left now will be for the Derby High School Panthers, Jason Kemp. The left footer sets everyone down, gets them ready to go, and now he's got it into it. Squib kick. They want to kick away from the deep 3. It'll be taken at the 26-yard line by Ron Stubbs. He's at the 30, cuts outside, and his ankle tackled down at about the 35, maybe the 36-yard line. And that's where the Wichita West will set up shop again. Left to right they go in the first quarter, trailing 6-0. Turnovers, well, they're always important, but especially in playoff time and district's time. And coming into the game, Tom Young's team has had great success lately in the giveaway takeaway department. In fact, his Derby Panthers have turned it over just twice in the last 3 games. If you take a look at West, +2 on the season, but again, that had the coaching staff a little bit worried. Here's Rory Bryan now behind his big center, Nate Hendren, looking to get something going, trailing 6-0. There's a give to McCoy, the fullback. He's wrapped up by 2 defensive linemen for Derby and got nothing. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Line of scrimmage is once again about the 35.
Garen, on the fumble, Weston Sharts recognized just how quickly the penetration was coming from the Panthers, so he brought Sean Faisal in to line up at one tight end. That time, they tried to run behind Faisal. No going. Scott Haskins and William Beal right in there to stop the play before any gain at all.
Speaking of no gain, nothing doing 2nd and 10, 35-yard line. Nothing doing that time for the junior fullback. McCoy still in there with Flowers behind him. Rory Bryan will give to Flowers, brought down by the ankles. Good play by Casey Worm, the weak side linebacker. Derby knows that Wichita West wants to first and foremost come out and run the football, and their linebackers, there are 3 of them, are basically hugging the 4 defensive linemen. 7-man front. West is going to have to open it up a little bit.
And the linemen are lining up right off of the shoulder into the gap, trying to penetrate quickly. And what you need to do is down block. You need to have your center go after the man to his left, the guard to the man to his left, and try and create some holes on the backside if you're going to penetrate.
Clint May wide left. He's a Z-back. Ron Stubbs wide right. Tight end right on 3rd and 9. Back to pass. Rolling to his left is Bryan. Rushes on. Throws deep. Has a man. Settling under it and dropping the football at the 30 is Clint May. Oh, man, he was 5 yards open deep into Derby territory. The pass was underthrown by Bryan, but still good enough to get it to his receiver. May just dropped at the last second, bothered perhaps defensively by cornerback Billy Weiss. Initially, he was the man beaten on the play.
I think what he was trying to do was score before he had possession of the ball. He had his eyes on it, and he took it off and tried to turn upfield. A big break for Derby because May has the speed to score. Nice tight spiral by the quarterback, Roy Bryan, as well.
Good throw, a little bit underthrown, but against a breeze here at Carpenter Stadium. And now punting for the first time will be Dane DeMebo. Not much of a rush. Spiraled kick, sails downfield. Backtracking is the return man Rusher. Picks it up, in fact, at his 15-yard line, and he will be hemmed in shy of the 20. Good coverage for Wichita West High School. First man down was Ryan Makinich, thank you, 5'7", 160, and a junior. But good coverage overall. Special teams, again, a worry of Western Charts, but so far they're looking good.
Well, the defense held on Derby's initial drive, and that's what you've got to do. Don't give them any easy breaks. Make them go 80, 90 yards for the score and take time off that clock. If West is going to get into this game, you saw right there, it's going to take a big play because no attempts by the Pioneer Club have been successful running the ball.
Here's Tom Shaw now going right to left, having produced a 6-pointer the last possession. 6-0 our score, 6 minutes left first quarter from Carpenter Stadium. And on the first play from this possession, Jason Stevens got the football, and the entire defensive line for West got him. Nose guard Jeff Van Horn, left defensive tackle junior Jerry Corner, the initial players to meet him. It'll be a no-gainer from the 20, 2nd down and 10.
We talked in the pregame about Van Horn. At 255 pounds, he occupies a lot of space. All he did was push the center, Matt Norwood, back about 3 yards, and the running back bounced off of him. Jason Stevens had nowhere to go. A nice job to bottle things up.
And if Norwood gets pushed back, that's a good sign for West because he is our largest offensive lineman, 6'3", 253. They split a man to each side of the field to the Panthers on 2nd and 10. Turn, quick handoff. That's Stevens. And again, he's trying the right side of the offensive line, running behind co-captain Pat Davis, but not getting anywhere. Good surge once again for the Pioneers. No gain on the play. 3rd down and 10. Clock running, 5:10 left first quarter. The Panthers of Derby leading Wichita West 6-0.
Once again, credit Van Horn. He stood things up. He moved Matt Norwood to one side. It happened to be the side that they were trying to run with Jason Stevens, and the rest of the Pioneer defense pursued and got this stop.
Russell Parscale, flanker wide right. Billy Weiss, watch him split in wide left. Passing situation for the Panthers of Derby. Tom Shaw looks at the defense, under center, 3rd and 10, fakes a sweep, wants to throw short, does. Pass is broken up at the first down marker, 30-yard line, intended for Parscale as flanker. Good defensive work that time. Timing is hit perfectly. Was Clint May, the free safety, doing his job, reading that type of quick slanter and breaking up the play on the initial contact.
And he didn't commit to the run. Again, they faked the toss sweep back to Rusher or Jason Stevens, and they threw the short tight end drag, and May did not commit to the fake and was right there when Norwood came across.
Punting time for the second time for Derby High School. Shelby Werman will boot it away. A couple of players back deep. Ron Stubbs and Toby Drury. Standing on his own 5, kick from the 10-yard line. Not bad. It hangs up for a while. Will be taken by the up man in the duo. That's Drury. Up the middle, 45-yard line, 50. He's at the 45 and inside the 40-yard line of Derby to the 36-yard line. So for the 3rd straight time, the Pioneers have it in good field position. Corner made the stop. Corner threw a block. That's what you're trying to tell me.
I was going to say, Toby Drury ran right into Jerry Corner. Otherwise, he was gone down the sideline.
So now the Pioneers, who have had possessions begin at their own 38 and their own 35, begin at the Derby 36-yard line. Nothing to show, not even a first down offensively with that kind of field position. Coach Weston Charts knows this team's got to get something going here. Rory Bryan directs traffic behind him before he can get this play going. Lydell Flowers, Kenny McCoy the backs. There's a pitch play to Flowers, running left. Not much room, headed for the sideline. He's inside at 35 before being shoulder charged out of bounds near the 32. Good speed that time for the junior. He got 4 yards. Nothing, though, really developing on that play. That's one that I'm sure he'd like to turn into a big one before the night is over.
Kenny McCoy threw the key block on Joe Norwood from his defensive end position, was trying to string the play to the sideline. McCoy got in front of him, and that allowed Flowers to get around the end and pick up a couple extra yards.
Second down, 6 yards to go. Flowers 2 carries, 5 yards. The big gun in the Derby backfield, Aaron Rusher, 3 carries, just 4 yards. From the 32 of the Panthers, tight eye behind quarterback Rory Bryan. He takes, gives to McCoy. Hole opens left side. He might be loose. 25-yard line, 20, 15, inside the 15, and finally dragged down from behind near the 12, 11-yard line of Derby. Touchdown saving tackle made aggressively by defensive end. Check that, free safety, Phil Veach, but a nice run on second down and short, a gain of about 20 yards for fullback Kenny McCoy.
Garen, that was the type of play that I was talking about in the pregame. They pull him up into a tight eye, handoff, and he just bull rushes his way through the line of scrimmage. He's got good speed, good size at 215 pounds, and if you don't get him around the ankles, you're not going to take him down.
From the 12, they set up shop. The Pioneers looking to score with 4:05 left first period, trailing 6-0. Quick snap, pitch play, right side, Lydell Flowers. He rounds the corner at the 15. Flag flies, and Flowers hits the deck at about the 10. Gain of 2. Another stop by free safety Phil Veach. A penalty appears to be assessed, about to be assessed to Wichita West. We had some sort of illegal block as Lydell tried to turn right that time, making the block at split in, or trying to make a block and perhaps holding in the process Ron Stubbs.
He also had Clint May was blocking Jason Young from the back, so a clipping penalty against Clint May.
So Wichita West has fumbled once, and now they've committed a couple of costly penalties. One wiped out a first down run early in the ball game, like Kenny McCoy. This will negate just a short gain, but the important thing here is not so much first downs, but field position. They were at the 12-yard line of the Derby Panthers. The clipping penalty will mark off a major assessment back to the 30. That's 18 yards back behind the initial line of scrimmage. 15 yards from the spot of the foul, and therefore it becomes now first down and 28 yards to go from the 30-yard line. Let's see what kind of play Weston Schartz has called in this situation, with Rory Bryan leading the troops to the line of scrimmage, facing now a 5-man front employed by the Panthers. In motion, left to right, Toby Drury. Snap taken. Give is to the fullback, and what a hit after a gain of 1 to 2 yards. First man through, I'm not sure that was McCoy. I thought I saw a 3 on the back of the ball carrier, and I did. It was Benford's first carry, and he was planted immediately. William Beal, Jason Young both got him. It'll be a short gain to the 28, set up 2nd and 26.
Again, mental mistakes have pushed the Pioneers way back, Kieran.
2 penalties, 20 yards in the ball game. And now Wichita West will break huddle slowly. New backfield, Benford, a sophomore, 5'8", 175, explosive, is now the fullback in front of junior Lydell Flowers. 2nd and long. Back to pass. Straight drop. They set up the flanker screen. Caught by Drury. 25-yard line, 20. Down the middle, 15, 10. 5, touchdown. But hold everything. 2 flags on the turf. It would go as a 28-yard touchdown pass, beautifully set up by quarterback Rory Bryan and wide receiver Toby Drury, but it appears to be coming back. Brian Sexton believes it's coming back, and Wichita West has ceased its celebration. It appears we do have some sort of blocking violation. 2 flags down, perhaps offsetting penalties. We'll check the calls. Holding is the first from the man in the striped shirts against West, and that's all he's going to tell us, so it appears that we have lost a 28-yard touchdown pass.
That's the kind of thing that just drives coaches mad. They had an easy alley up the middle. I'm going to say that it was on the left guard, Tom Bloom, who was on the ground trying to get back up, using a Derby player to get himself back on his feet. You had the ball down deep inside the 15-yard line. A clipping play brings it back. Now you've got a touchdown that was scored, and a holding penalty will bring that back. If they don't score again here, you have to look back at that penalty as what is keeping West out of this game. Good teams like Derby don't let you beat them too often.
New player in the lineup for West is Mike Smallwood, 5'6", 150-pound junior, a starter in the defensive backfield on defense. He was going to split wide left. Toby Drury wide right, but Weston Schartz calls timeout on 2nd and 35. We'll tell you how the Pioneers come out of this after this 60-second break. You're listening to KQAM's high school football coverage.
Kansas State Bank & Trust knows that in sports, as in life, it's more than just getting the best score. It's playing fair, giving your best, and striving toward your goal that makes you the true victor. That's why Kansas State Bank & Trust is there when you need more from your bank. Regardless of your financial needs, you'll find Kansas State Bank & Trust committed to a level of informed advice, personal service, and speedy response that you just won't find anywhere else. Kansas State Bank & Trust is there to help, with 7 locations to serve you in Wichita.
A cellular phone is good to have when your car breaks down, when you're running late, or during major emergencies. And in business, it can save you time looking for a payphone. Cellular One is the leader in technology and service. They have better tower placement, which translates to clearer phone reception. Call Cellular One at 686-2355 or stop by the office at Central and Woodland. There's only one cellular phone, Cellular One.
2nd and 35 after the West timeout. They run a draw or delay to Jeremy Bent for the fullback. That went nowhere, folks. Jeremy lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Great job of the front seven once again of the green and white from Derby. Nelson, Beal, Haskins, and Joe Norwood, their front four, pushed the offensive line of West backwards. And there might have even been a loss of one. It sets up third down from the 38, 3rd and 36 with 2:45 left first quarter. 6-0 our score. Derby with the only points of this District 7 Class 6A football playoff game. Now wide right is Corey Poor for the first time for West. The only man split to either side of the field. I formation behind Bryan, who takes pitch play to Flowers. He wants to throw back to Bryan, his quarterback. He's in the route and can't come up with a pass back from Flowers at the 25-yard line.
Darren, that was the only way they were going to even get close to the goal line. Try a trick play. It was the only thing that was going to work because the running game has been non-existent. That nice little inside screen pass that they tried with the holding penalty was a great play. They had everybody faked out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to it. But, you know, much like the KU California game a couple of weeks ago, the only way the Jayhawks stayed in that game was the trick play, and that's the way that West is going to be able to beat Derby.
So West, after going first down and 10 from the 12 of Derby, and after scoring a touchdown on a split-in screen to Toby Drury, having both wiped out with penalties, will have to punt the football. Dane DeMebo puts his right foot into it, taken at the 9-yard line by Rusher, at the 10-15, right side 20. Slips a tackle at the 22, and is brought down at the 25-yard line by Sean Fossil, junior linebacker on defense, playing good special teams tonight for the Pioneers of Wichita West. 2:17 left now, first quarter, 6-0 our score. The second ranked in the state, Derby Panthers, in front. Size disadvantage on the line of scrimmage. And so far, they're not doing much offensively. Their one touchdown set up by a Lido Flowers fumble.
Put an asterisk next to that one. Every time they've tried to drive from their own side of the field, they have gotten nowhere. The Derby defense has done it, or the West defense has done a nice job against the Panthers.
Single set offense for the first time. Tom Shaw has two receivers split wide right, one wide left. He's behind his center at the 25-yard line. Gives to the one back remaining in the backfield. That's Jason Stevens, the fullback. Got two. That's about it. Stopped on a play by number 63. Thank you. Devin DeMebo, 5'11", 245, and a senior. 2nd down and 8. Again, a good job by the Pioneers defensively.
Again, give Van Horn a lot of credit. He's bottling things up in the middle, and they're not finding any room to run. Faisal and Jay at the linebackers are doing a great job of reading where the play is going because there's nowhere to run.
Russell Parscale wide left. Phil Veach in with a play from head coach Tom Young. Splits wide right back to the eye with Stevens and Rusher behind junior quarterback Tom Shaw. 27-yard line, 2nd down, 8 yards to go. Fake pitch, back to pass, throws a slant. Caught acrobatically at the 42-43-yard line. Phil Veach going airborne and being upended simultaneously by Mike Smallwood. Still found a way to come up with the football. That's a first down pick upon the play to the 42-yard line. Great job, great concentration. That's all you can say, 15 yards.
Nice pass, especially with Keith Reed in Shaw's face. He just looked him off, threw it high, and coming down on the play. I didn't even see the name of that.
Beach?
Yeah, Beach,
caught the ball.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He had to get up. It was Face. He had to get up and walk off the field and show he wasn't hurt.
And he did just that from the 42 now. After the first down, the first down, by the way, for Derby. They go now with the split backfield, and the first man through is Rusher. He has the football, and once again, the West defense has him. Gain of 2 to the 44-yard line. 2nd down and 8. DeMebo again is last off the pile with 40 seconds left first quarter. Credit the West defense. They're hanging tough, but they still trail on the scoreboard 6-0.
Once again, Van Horn in the front 5, putting some pressure on Tom Shaw, just submarining and filling the gaps. They've got to get some pressure from the outside. McCoy and Reed have to get something going and put Shaw back deep in the hole.
5 men on the defensive line now for Wichita West. Beach wide left, Parscale wide right, I formation. And now another fake toss sweep by the quarterback. Dunn loads over the middle to Norwood, is tied in. Pass incomplete. Good coverage that time by defensive end Kenny McCoy, who dropped off the line of scrimmage just to cover Joe Norwood so that touchdown scoring play earlier in the quarter wouldn't happen again.
DeMebo, Van Horn, and corner again, putting pressure. They're submarining, putting the defensive line back in the backfield and really forcing Shaw to throw quickly. A lot quicker than he'd like to because he's got a gun.
18 seconds left first quarter. This might be the last play of the first 12 minutes of football from Carpenter Stadium. It will be 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Ball right in the middle of the field. Derby going right to left to begin the game. 3rd down and 8. Twins to the right, so one man split to the left, and by himself is rusher behind quarterback Tom Shaw. Sprints back the pass, throws a rocket down the sideline, incomplete. He overshot his target. Harskell was the man back there. Good coverage by Ron Stubbs, and it's punting time again. Derby is held once more defensively by Wichita West.
West is a very talented defensive team. The only problem for their offense, so is Derby. They're not getting anywhere on the ground. The trick play is what it's going to take. But the defense can fire up the offense. Every time Derby has run the ball, they've stopped them. It's just been one pass play that's beaten the West defense.
Shelby Werman will kick the football. He stands back at his own 28-yard line. Once again, a couple of receivers. Toby Drury, Ron Stubbs back deep for West. Rushes on this time. Good kick against it by Werman. Back at his 17, making a catch, sidewind style is Drury, and he's buried at the 21, maybe the 22-yard line. West didn't have anyone back to block. Yeah, well, they were coming after the punter that time, and Werman, and they left Stubbs by himself, or make that Drury. Toby's a little bit slow in getting up, gets the help from his teammates. 2 seconds left here in the first quarter, in a game in which has been dominated by the two defense, and in a game which has featured a lot of mental mistakes by the home team tonight. Wichita West High School, penalties and the fumble, directly the reason why we're 6-0. Derby in front, and that's where we'll be when we return to Carpenter Stadium. End of the first quarter, his hit. You're listening to the KQAM High School Football Game of the Week in Wichita. It's a district game. Derby ranks second in Class 6A, leading 6-0. Back in 1 minute.
Not everyone needs their glasses prepared in an hour. Quite frankly, many people like to take just a little more time than that with a purchase of this nature. This is Richard Krieger, the store manager of the Howard's Optical Store at Maple and Mays Road in Wichita. Richard, what's the difference between a Howard's Optical Store and your run-of-the-mill eyeglass store?
It cares more. We deal with the customers on their level with their problems. We're not a glasses mill. We don't pump out glasses. We take care of each individual customer and their concerns.
From a simple tightening of a loose frame screw to the most demanding prescription, Howard's Optical locations treat you and your family like a friend, not customer number 9,999. And they can help with your insurance processing, too.
If you're shopping for glasses this week, come into the Howard's Optical at Maple and Mays. I'm Richard Krieger, and I know you'll find something you like.
Savings you can see from Howard's Optical, Maple and Mays.
Tell Richard you heard it on KQAM.
Back at Carpenter Stadium, Garen Emig with Brian Sexton, a 17-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Tom Shaw to his tight end Joe Norwood, set up by the fumble by tailback Lydell Flowers of West, the only score of the first period. Extra point no good, 6-0 Derby. And now with possession, number 4, the Pioneers of Wichita West High School from their own 23-yard line. 3 men in the backfield now behind quarterback Rory Bryan. He takes from center, pitch play. Flowers with 2 blockers out in front, cuts inside, and picks up perhaps 2 yards to the 25. 2nd down and 8. Good pursuit once again by the green and white. The Derby defense doing the job, led on that play by Pat Davis.
If the West Pioneers hope to get anywhere with their rushing game, they need to get 2-3 yards at each click so that they're not forced to a throwing position of long third, say 5 and 6 yards, because simply the West offensive line has not been able to stop that defensive front for Derby.
They got Kenny McCoy, Lydell Flowers in the backfield along with Z-back Mike Smallwood. Man is wide right. That's Corey Poor. 2nd and 8, left hash going right-left. Cross your dial is West. Again, they try a quick hitter to Kenny McCoy. Tries the left side and is buried by 3 white shirts. It's Casey Werman and Jason Nelson leading the charge for the defense. Got a little bit of help that time from William Beal, the nose guard. No gain. 3rd down and 8 from the 25. And right now, Rory Bryan appealing to the sideline to call him a play. A little bit frustrated right now.
There's nowhere to run. There is nowhere to run. Either the right side or the left side, wherever they read the ball going, is doing a nice job penetrating and stopping. They're getting themselves into a 3rd and long situation where it's just so easy to predict that they're going to have to throw the football.
Smallwood wide left, Drury wide right, I formation, man in motion out of the tailback position is Flowers. And on 3rd and 8, back to pass, Bryan throws deep down the middle. No one near that football. I believe intended the pass originally for Toby Drury, the split end coming across the middle on a slant, maybe. Or was it Sean Fossil to tight end off the line of scrimmage? Who knows? It's punting time once again for Wichita West High School. 10:41 left first half. The offense right now at a standstill. And the Pioneers trail 6-0.
And once again, they have to call in their defense. They need a good punt here out of DeMebo. Field position being as important as it is, you're going to give Derby with their potentially explosive offense, albeit we haven't seen it tonight, excellent field position.
DeMebo has a rush on him, gets it away, good kick, hangs up for Rusher. He takes at the 34, has some room, 35-yard line, 40. Slips the tackle, 45, down the sideline, 50, 45 at West before being knocked down at the 43, right in front of the maroon and gold coaching staff, hit by Benford on the play, Jeremy Benford. But again, there's the ever-dangerous Aaron Rusher. In the backfield tonight for Derby, Brian, 4 carries, 6 yards, but he is a very good kick returner and is by himself on both kickoffs and punts.
He's a great all-around athlete. Now you've got West defense, and they were able to tee off down deep in Derby territory. They've got to be a little bit more conservative here. They don't want to give up the big ball in their own side of the field.
Ball on the right hash mark, and for the second quarter, you can spot Derby going left to right. They split a man to each side of the field. Tight end Joe Norwood is on the right side of the line of scrimmage. Jason Stevens and Aaron Rusher, full and tailback respectively. Delay to Rusher. Left side, a little bit of a hole this time, and he uses it to pick up 3, maybe 4 yards as he throws his body across the 40 and into a pile of Wichita West tacklers, led once again by Kenny McCoy, ever present on defense. It'll be second down from the 40-yard line. We'll call it 2nd and 7, 3-yard run for Rusher. And that's basically his longest of the night. He's been contained real well. The 12th leading rusher in the state, Aaron Rusher, excuse me on that.
You'll find Wichita is full of outstanding rushers. How about Delbert Carter last night, 202 yards for Southeast.
Aaron tonight for Derby, only 5 totes for 9. 2nd and 7. 3 receivers out on the pattern this time for quarterback Tom Shaw. Instead, he gives to Stevens a lone setback, and he sort of fights his way forward across the 40 too near the 35-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and short for the green and white. Last man off the pile defensively this time for Wichita West, Keith Reed, the defensive end.
Well, the first night of district play certainly brings some nerves up for the Derby Panthers. They are undefeated, 2nd ranked in the state, and there's always the fear that somebody is a little more jacked up to come after you. You can just sense that their offensive line is starting to get comfortable with one another, and they're moving the big guys around for West.
From their own 36, the Panthers face 3rd and 3. Again, twins to the left, 1 man wide right. Rusher this time, the lone setback behind Shaw. He turns, and before the play can be run, flags come down. Pat Davis, the right offensive tackle, 6 foot, 218 pounds, a senior co-captain, jumping a little bit early apparently, and we have our first penalty, I believe, of the game against Derby High. They have been fundamentally sound. They're just not moving the football much outside of the touchdown pass of 17 yards.
Well, I just said that the Derby offensive line was feeling comfortable moving the big guys around in the maroon and the gold, but not that comfortable. Pat Davis is lined up against Big Jerry Corner, and you know he's got his work cut out for him tonight.
Bill Veach, the man who has made the catch of the game, a 15-yarder, sprawled out before being decked by strong safety Mike Smallwood earlier in the first quarter. He's in the lineup and is way wide left. Rusher out of the backfield is wide left. Let's see, now Phil decides, let's try the other side of the field. Veach goes wide right. Billy Weiss wide left. Single setback on 3rd and 7. Short drop by quarterback Tom Shaw. Pumps once, throws deep, has a man, but overshoots him at the 15-yard line. Open on the play was Billy Weiss. His split in. He got behind cornerback Toby Drury. A good pass. Has a second touchdown for Derby. As it stands, it's 4th down and 7 from the 40-yard line of West.
Sean Fossil and Keith Reed created the pressure on quarterback Tom Shaw. He had to throw just a little bit quicker than he'd like. A nice pump fake. That threw off the defensive line, thinking they had to drop back. But instead, Keith Reed came through. Nice read on the play by Keith Reed.
Thank you. 8:35 left, first half, 6-0. Derby leads, and for the 4th time in the game in 5 possessions, they're punting. Great job again by the Wichita defense. Dropping back by himself this time, Toby Drury. Shelby Werman is standing on his own 45, awaiting the snap from center. It's coming, no fake, it's a straight punt, and it's on the way. And it is way off to the right of Drury, not even close to the return man. Bounces out of bounds at the 13, 14-yard line. He did his job. I suppose that's what he wanted to do, pinning West deep in its own territory, but not a very deep kick that time by Shelby Werman. So now the Pioneers, which has mounted basically one good play on offense tonight, a 20-yard run, quick hitter to fullback Kenny McCoy. That put him in striking position. Got him at the 12-yard line the last time they had the ball, but then penalties dropped him back about 35 yards. And this time the maroon and gold sets up shop right hash mark, going right to left from their own 13. 3 men once again behind quarterback Rory Bryan. He looks at a 4-man defensive front, takes a snap. Misdirection play to Clint May. Left side, he fumbles the football, and I believe Derby's got it back at the 19. He got 6 yards, but then got belted on the play by defensive player William Beal. And ladies and gentlemen, that's 2 costly fumbles by the backfield of Wichita West High School. First, the tailback Lydell Flowers, and now on a misdirection, Z-back Clint May coughs it up.
Gary, the only thing Derby's been able to get is what has been given to them by West. And once again, they handed them ideal field position. They can just run it right up the gut. They've got the rushers. And now the West Pioneers really have to stand strong.
Billy West split in wide left. Russell Parscale wide right. The defense digs in again. From the 19 of the Pioneers comes Derby. Tom Shaw prepares to take the snap. Does so. Fake sweep over the middle. Pass coming. Pass almost intercepted. at the 5-yard line through the hands of corner Toby Drury. Again, they tried that fake toss to Rusher, used as a decoy more or less in tonight's game. And they were looking for Weiss cutting across the middle.
He will not be used as a decoy this entire game. They are going to unleash him quickly, and we're going to see how well West is able to key on him. But they have so many weapons, among them quarterback Tom Shaw, who does a nice head fake and just tosses it up for whoever goes out. Veach is out there a couple of times. Don't forget Wise and Norwood. They're a very talented deep ball club.
Here we go, tight end right, 8:03 left first half. It's 2nd and 10 from the 19 of the Pioneers. There's a fake handoff to Rusher, rolling out to his left, and sacked on the play is Tom Shaw. He was taken care of by a safety blitz. What a time to call it if you're the coaching staff of Wichita West, but it was a great time. Mike Smallwood gobbles him up, and on the deep drop that time by quarterback Tom Shaw, it's a big loss back to the 27-yard line.
The defense again stands strong, and what about Smallwood? He's got outstanding speed, came from the far side. Shaw didn't even see him coming. He looked to set up and was taken down before he had a chance to even find his receiver. Nice call by the defense of Weston Shards.
So spot the football at the 27-yard line. Derby High School needs the 9, and on 3rd down and 18, timeout signaled for and received by Tom Shaw. We're going to hold it right here for a moment. 7:28 left in the first half from Carpenter Stadium. Hey, glad to be part of KQAM Sports.
Hey, you're right.
Winding down the first week.
Yeah, it is. We got to mention something real quick. What about the Wichita State Cellular One Kansas State Bank and Trust Scholarship? Mike McKnight is sitting at home saying, how come you haven't mentioned it yet? It's a $1,000 scholarship, good for the fall of 1993 at Wichita State University. You can find out more information if you're going to be attending college in the fall of 1993 by stopping by any Kansas State Bank and Trust location and picking up an application, or calling KQAM during business hours Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And if you call, ask for Garen.
And ladies and gentlemen, Brian just read that without, I swear to you, without a script.
I've done it 100 times.
100 times?
100.
So
that was 101.
All right.
No problem. Yeah, the first week is over.
And it was a good one. Had a lot of fun on Sportsline. Looking forward to the big weekend of high school. Well, now it'll be college starting tomorrow. College and pro football. KQAM, of course, you're home for the Jayhawks tomorrow at 12:30. The Chiefs on Sunday at 11:30. Now back to the high school action. The Class 6A District 7 matchup between Derby and underdog Wichita West up for grabs for now. Panthers lead 6-0. After the timeout, they've got it 3rd down 18 on the 27 of West. Back to pass is Shaw. Throws deep, has a man, and it's knocked away at the goal line. Great play by the right hand of Toby Drury, the senior cornerback. They are picking on him tonight, Brian. That time tried to float it in behind him to the man on the backfield, Aaron Rusher, but again, Drury responded.
A nice job dropping back, gauging where the ball was, the distance, the time, stood up, knocked it away just at the last minute. If he doesn't get up high enough, that's a ball that's caught for a touchdown.
He's got a great closure. He gave the tailback Rusher out of the backfield about 3 yards between him and the end zone, and still at the last second reached out, made the play, and now on 4th down from the 27 and 18 to go, Derby is lining up as if they're going to go for it with 7:22 left in the first half. Shaw stands erect at the line of scrimmage, drops down behind center Matt Norwood. Single setback of Stevens. And now before the play can be run, we have procedure on Scott Haskins, the right guard. And now let's see what Coach Tom Young of the Panthers decides to do. Perhaps he'll change his thinking. It'll now be 4th and 22 as Derby is hit with its second penalty of the game for 10 yards. Penalty is a big factor for Wichita West, 3 for 30, all of them costly, however.
Garen, I don't think they'll change their thinking at all. It's been a defensive struggle.
Right.
Both teams have played outstanding on defense, and neither club has been able to get anything going at all, and I think that they feel very comfortable in their ability to stop the offense of Weston Shards and the Pioneers. And with the ball just inside the, the 25-yard line, just outside it, it's not great field position.
No, and they got a long way to go to pick up the first down. 4th down, they need about the 9-yard line. From the 32, it's 4th and a long ways. Back to pass, good protection, and a throw to the flat is caught and dropped and juggled and dropped again by Veach, who was open. The man covering slipped. That was Ron Stubbs, the left cornerback. They picked on Drury all night. Derby decides to throw at Stubbs. He falls down to Veach, who made an acrobatic catch in the first quarter, can't hold it. He has 6 points if he gets his mitts on it cleanly. And
so
there's a turnover. Go ahead.
Once again, West's offense takes the field with very little success. They have got to help their defense. That defense has got to be getting tired right now. They're bringing in Corey Poor. They'll split him out to one or the other side. It doesn't really matter. Look for them to mix it up. The big play is what it's going to take. It's the only thing that's worked so far.
Poor is wide left, Brian. Wide the right is Mike Smallwood. I formation. And there's the give to the tailback Flowers. 2 men are there to greet him. The second's going to ring him down at the 24-yard line. That is defensive end Jason Nelson, 6'1", 190, a senior. Like his line mates tonight from Derby, they're giving away 40 pounds of man, and yet right now they're winning the battle in the trenches. Nothing doing for the outstanding junior tailback Lydell Flowers. Line of scrimmage. Where was the line of scrimmage? 31-yard line, and he loses back to the 25.
Garen, they're in a straight O technique, which means they're lining up head-to-head, offensive lineman to defensive lineman, but what they're doing is they're slanting into the gaps and penetrating, and they've got great speed and quickness, and they're able to read the play and pursue.
2nd and 16, 25-yard line, split a man to each side of the field, back to pass, Rory Bryan rushes on, and he's decked. Back at the 16-yard line. Making the play was linebacker Casey Werman. Flag is down, however, in the Derby secondary. Brian Sexton says he saw some holding.
Toby Drury was held on the far side of the field. It should go against the Derby Panthers.
And this will be the first break of the night for the Homers. Wichita West looking for one, looking for a call to go the other way, and maybe they've got it right now. They need it. That's a loss of 9 on the sack by Casey Werman, the blitzing linebacker, on quarterback Rory Bryan, and now they wave the flag off.
It was clearly holding, but they've decided that it wasn't part of the play, and the play was over before it ever occurred, and nobody was in Werman's way as he just barreled right through, and Rory Bryan never saw him come.
Check this out. They need the 41 for the first. Wichita West's line of scrimmage is the 18. It is 3rd and 23, 6:25 left first half. Pioneers trailing Derby's Panthers 6-0. Split a man wide right Smallwood, wide left Drury. I formation, they're going to play it safe on 3rd and a mile. They give the first man through. The fullback brought down on the play by Jason Nelson is Kenny McCoy. Picked up a yard to the 19, but that's going to be it. And it's punting time once again for Wichita West High School. 0 for 4 now in third downs and looking for only their second first down of the game. Both teams, in fact, unable to move the football. They only have one apiece, first down-wise.
Wichita West can ill afford to give the Derby Panthers this kind of field position, though. The offense has got to move the ball somewhat.
Tamibo, another kick, low and short, bounces at midfield, 45. Rusher waits on it. Boy, and now he decides to back off. Not a good move. But the All-State candidate, Aaron Rusher, if he charges a football, even if it's rolling, he picks up 15, 20 more yards because the ball was hit well but low. The coverage wasn't there by West, but Rusher decided to wait on it, so it's 1st and 10 from the 40 of Derby High School.
And once again, West defense is called upon to create something. They need to cause a turnover for Derby. That's the only way they're going to get into their side of the field. The offense just is not varied enough to fool the Panthers.
But credit the West defense so far. Derby's offense has gone very ineffective. They picked up 1 first down, and they have 0 for 5 on third downs, and now from the right hash going left to right, they have it in good shape at the 40. The Panthers run a toss sweep left side, nothing fancy. Rusher cuts inside and is belted at about the 43-yard line, 3 or 4 yards on the pickup. Stop made that time by Sean Fonsel, the junior linebacker, and he really gave Rusher something to think about. Planted him high when someone got Aaron low. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6, 44-yard line Panthers with the football.
Kenny McCoy made that play happen from his defensive end position. He strung out the offensive guard, pulling to the near side, forced Rusher to go inside, and there was Sean Fossil ready to make the stop after a gain of just 4 yards.
Bill Veach to the left. Russell Parskell wide right. They haven't thrown at him tonight. Veach has been, along with Billy Weiss, his fellow split in the main target of quarterback Tom Shaw. On 2nd and 6, he takes from center. Stevens, the fullback, gets a rare carry and crosses the line of scrimmage. In fact, lunges forward near a first down. He'll be brought down shy of midfield, which is where he needs to go. Spot the football at about the 49. 3rd down and 1 with 4.5 left in the first half of play. Fossil, another stop, and here's another big defensive play for Wichita West High School.
They've been able to pull the big defensive play, just not the offensive play. Van Horn pushing back on the center could create something right here. You don't want Fossil or Sean Jay to be burned to the outside, though.
Stevens, the fullback, Rusher behind him, hands on knees. Here's Shaw taking the snap. Toss sweep left side Rusher. Penetration is good, but Rusher gets by the initial wave and has a first down and more. 45-40, 35-yard line across the 30. Great run by Aaron Rusher near the 25 of West High School.
Garrett, nice fake up the middle by Shaw, and both Fossil and Jay bid on it, and Aaron Rusher got to the outside, and there was nothing stopping him.
That's the first third down conversion for either school. The second first down for Derby, and now we have a man down at the point of the tackle at the 26 of the Pioneers. That's a 25-yard run for Rusher, and from this angle, it's going to be hard for us to pick up the number. The guess up here is Drury, I believe, the cornerback, who was one of the men finally able to bring down ball carrier Aaron Rusher. And with that run, The 5'9", 175-pound senior has 7 totes for 38 yards. You pick up your paper tomorrow morning, you see that kind of a stat, and you think, well, he's not doing too bad. But, again, 25 on one run. That's been about it tonight for the All-State candidate.
Well, you're right. They've used him as a decoy, try and vary up the offense and keep West honest. But they can always go back to him, and they've created some holes on the outside.
Toby Drury, who has been a tremendous pass defender tonight for Wichita West, was the man shaken up. It's cold outside. The ground's going to be hard, and perhaps that's what caused the injury, because he's off after a woozy spell. Jogging on his own power, he'll take a seat for a 1 or 2 plays. Derby goes back to work after the 3rd down conversion from the 26 of Wichita West, left hash mark. The green and white going left to right Panthers. 1st and 10, I formation. There's a play-action dump pass off into the flat, caught by Stevens, a fullback, and he's hammered down at the 20-yard line after a gain of 6 yards. Teaming up to make the stop, Clint May and Ron Stubbs. So pretty good imaginative call from Tom Young and the staff. They send the fullback out in the flat, and he gets 6 yards, 2nd and 4.
They've got a very diverse offense, and West is seeing all of it right now. They're not hesitant to give it to Rusher or Stevens out of the backfield, or to throw it to either of those guys.
Now they go right hash. Wide left way by his lonesome is Russell Parskill. This is a running down for the Panthers of Derby from the 20, 2nd and 4. Stevens and Rusher form the I behind quarterback Tom Shaw. Straight give is to Rusher left side, and he stumbles forward, has a 1st down, it appears. As he crosses the 15, needed the 16-yard line. Clock running 3:15 left, first half, 6-0. Derby leading and driving for more. They have just picked up their 2nd 1st down in 3 plays. Spotted at the 15-yard line of the maroon and gold. And now Weston Shart, sensing fatigue, will call a timeout. We'll take it with him. Atop Carpenter Stadium, you're listening to high school football on KQAM. Back in 60 seconds. Charts of West High School. The Steve Fence starting to bend a little bit, facing 1st down and 10. Derby has the football and the 1st down at the 15 of the Pioneers. 7-man offensive line. They want to cram it down their throats if possible. There's a give to Stevens, a fullback, weaving his way through Cardinal and gold shirts. He's inside the 10 to about the 9-yard line. That is a 1st down run of 6, maybe 7 yards. To the 8, 2nd and 3.
You can see the West defense starting to get just a bit down on themselves. They had held. They believed they could hold them. All of a sudden, Derby comes out. They're mixing it up, throwing and running. And really, they need a gut check right now. They need a big play, a sack, a penalty, something to get them back on track defensively.
David DeVore is the 2nd tight end, along with Joe Norwood. Norwood 210, DeVore 182. A man by himself. Wide right is Phil Veach. I formation, 2nd and 3 from the 8 of West. Another give to Stevens. Got a hole right side, uses it, and is close to a 1st down. Hammered down head high at the 6-yard line, close to the 5. Mike Smallwood, the strong safety, one of the tacklers for Wichita West High School. It'll be 3rd down, call it a yard from the 6-yard line of the Pioneers. Right hash mark, 2:20 left, first half. Derby already in front, 6-0, looking for one more score before halftime. They break huddle. Send a man wide left, Parskill. He's a decoy, though, believe me, with 7 on the offensive line, facing a 7-man defensive front. The Panthers will run this football. Shaw is behind his center. Turns, gives, Stevens, left side, slips a tackle. Has the 1st down as he crosses the 5. Is pushed backwards as he nears the 2-yard line. Clock stops as they move the chains forward. Another 1st down in a very impressive Derby drive in the closing stages of the 1st half. Another man down for West. Let's see if it's anything serious. Now he's helped to his feet. 2 men down. I guess just a little bit tired, getting an extra break. Mike Smallwood and Sean Jay. So now the focal point of the backfield is becoming Jason Stevens, the fullback, carrying real well. He has 9 now for 32 in the 1st half of play. Very timely touchdown situation here for Derby, leading 6-0 right before the intermission. Just as West was beginning to believe in itself defensively, they're ramming it down their throats, left to right. From the 2.5, 7-man offensive line. Once again, this is Tom Shaw, taking from center, turning, giving to Rusher. Up the middle, looking for the end zone. He's got it. And a Derby touchdown in the process. Aaron Rusher goes in. We'll call it a 3-yard run with exactly 100 seconds left in the 1st half. And the Panthers have a 12-0 lead.
Easy as that. Derby shows their muscle, drives down the field, pops a score. And West has to get something before halftime, even if it's only a couple of 1st downs, so that they can go into halftime with something to build on.
Total yardage now being dominated by the Derby team. That touchdown drive took 4 minutes, 9 seconds. Started at the 40 of the Panthers, 60 yards. And for the first time, they did make it look fairly easy. Now they're going to go for 2 after the missed extra point on the last touchdown. Shaw will drop back to pass. Fake to Rusher. Throws, has a man. Caught, 2-point conversion. Good. just beyond the goal line there, slipping out of the backfield, is senior fullback Jason Stevens. 1:40 left in the first half. It's 14-0. Derby ranked second in the state in Class 6A, not looking overwhelming by any stretch of the imagination here tonight, Brian, but now starting to build a little bit as West is tiring defensively.
Well, you see them getting their confidence back in themselves. Again, as we talked about, first game of districts, there's a lot of pressure. You want to come out. They're rated second in the state. Everybody is going after these guys. And West had, to their credit, done a nice job defensively. But the line is starting to work together, and that's really the key to a good football team, having a line that can work against adverse conditions, and certainly being outweighed by 40 pounds by the defensive line. You could call adverse conditions.
Tonight's game, once again, brought to you by a couple of boosters of KQAM Sports, Howard's Optical, Fry Chevrolet, Cellular One, and Kansas State Bank and Trust. Their efforts making our broadcast possible. We owe them a big thank you here from Carpenter Field. Jason Kemp puts his left foot into the football. Squibber. It'll be fielded at the 27-yard line by one of the upmen, Ron Stubbs. He is hammered down at about the 29-yard line. Knocked down by Casey Worm, Brian, with 1:35 left. Still on the short kick, the Pioneers have it in fair field position. Not good, not great. But you're right, they need to do a little bit of something here before halftime.
You can sense the trepidation on the part of the offensive players for the West Pioneers. At that time, Ron Stubbs picked it up. He hesitated. He should have cut to the outside, waited, kind of lollygagged for just enough that the Derby defenders were there to pull him down.
Smallwood wide left, Drury wide right. He's okay after being shaken up defensively. Bryan in front of his I formation will roll to his left, throws an out pass, and it's overshot, intended for Smallwood. Werman, the linebacker, dropping back in coverage, helping his cornerback, Russell Parskell. Cover of Mike Smallwood with 1:22 left first half. It'll be 2nd and 10, and Rory is 0 for 3 throwing the football tonight.
Garen, the short passes in the flat are not there. They have to go for a long pass, or they have to go to a slant across the middle. The linebackers are coming out and covering their territory well. The short outlet pass is not going to be an option for the Pioneers.
See back Clint May wide left, Corey Poor wide right. So Coach Schartz shuffles receivers. 2nd and 10. There's your deep ball, Brian. Long pass down the boundary will be incomplete at the 35 of Derby. Great coverage by cornerback Russell Parskell, running stride for stride with wide receiver Clint May. If anything, Parskell could have had the interception.
He easily could have. May stopped. He stopped at about the 50-yard line, was trying to gauge where the ball was. If he had been at full stride, he could have caught that ball. Problem was he wasn't anticipating it being that long of a pass.
In case you're wondering if there's any kind of wind at either quarterback's back, not really tonight. The flag to our right down beyond the end zone here at Wichita South High School is limp. Just a cold, crisp, mid to late October evening. 3rd and 10 now. And West will run to Kenny McCoy. He's got a hole. He's at the 35-yard line and will be stopped. Actually shy of the 35, 34. William Beal gets him, got help from Phil Beach, free safety. And this time I think Weston Schart's thinking is, well, we're not going to move the football much. The last thing we want is to give it back to Derby with time on the clock, so he runs a play, takes some seconds off, and now Tom Young calls time.
It was a great audible. William Beal lined up in the gap between the center and the guard. Kenny McCoy had a nice move earlier. They figured they'd go back up to him up the middle. A good block by the center, Nate Hendren, and there was nothing stopping Kenny McCoy. A nice read by Roy Bryan.
So Tom Young of Derby says, let's go ahead and give it a shot. He does call time. 1 minute exactly left in the first stanza. 14-0. First quarter touchdown coming following a West fumble. Tailback Lido Flowers coughed it up in his own territory, deep in his own territory. After one play from the 18, Derby was able to strike on a 17-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Tom Shaw to tight end Joe Norwood. Well-designed play, wide open. It was an easy catch and run. And the Panthers had a 6-0 lead after the extra point try from Jason Kemp was wide right. Then just moments ago in the second quarter with 1:40 left now in the half, Rusher from 3 yards out, culminating a 60-yard drive. Took about 4 minutes. It was all on the dead run for Derby High School, flexing its muscle offensively, stacking 2 tight ends on the line of scrimmage, and tiring an already fatigued defensive front for the West High School Pioneers. Now after the Derby timeout, Wichita West will punt. It appears that Tom Young will send at least 8 men after the kicker, Dane Demibo, standing back at his own 20-yard line. Quick kick it away, and he got a good one off in a very short run up to the football. Rusher takes it at the 20, looking for help. Doesn't have much. Will try to outrun the coverage. 25. He's measured and drilled at the 31-yard line with 47 seconds left. Great job by Dane Demibo under pressure. Not only did he get his kick away, but it sailed About 47 yards.
That was a beautiful kick. It was high. It gave the defenders a lot of time to get underneath it. And just a minimal return, about, 10 yards.
10 yards.
But still, with Rusher's speed, he was not able to get to the outside. You rely on a good kick, especially when you're down by 2 touchdowns.
Well, we saw Derby go almost exclusively to the run the last time they had the football. Now the Panthers, I would imagine, would like to throw it a little bit with 47 seconds left in the half. They are 69 yards away from pay dirt, and yet they come out. And now they split 2 men out. Billy Weiss wide left, Harskell wide right. Tight end, watch for him. Joe Norwood is to the right of the line of scrimmage. And sure enough, back to pass Shaw. Play action, rolling to his left. Has time, throws deep down the sideline. Double coverage there, and the interception is made for West. At the 25-yard line, still on his feet with the football, Clint May. Running for room, 25-yard line. Spun down as he crosses the 30 at about the 34-yard line by Casey Werman.
Okay, so what do you do if you're West in charge? Do you be conservative and just hold onto the ball, run out the clock, or do you throw it up? I say they have nothing to lose by putting the ball in the air, trying to get good field position, and once again, something to build on at halftime. Say, hey, we started to move the ball, we found a weakness, let's try and exploit it in the second half. They've got to have something at halftime to hang their hat on.
Free safety Clint May helping Drury with the coverage that time on Weiss, who is the best wide receiver on the Derby roster. The defensive backfield's done a great job tonight, Brian, for the maroon and gold. They've covered the receivers primarily real well. The one lapse was on the tight end off the line of scrimmage, something they weren't looking for, Joe Norwood. Flag came down on the interception return by May, and this doesn't help the West cause much. From the 35 on a clipping penalty, which will be assessed from left to right, the Pioneers are set back to their own 20, and now with 33 seconds left and 80 yards to go instead of 75, they might be inclined to just run out the clock. We'll see. Smallwood, Z-back, wide left, split in wide right is Poor. I formation behind Bryan. They haven't gotten their tailback going tonight. Lydell Flowers, he gets the call on a toss sweep left this time, turns it upfield, crossing the 25. He'll be dragged down at about the 26, and I believe that's going to do it for the first half. West trying to hurry and hoping to get one more play off on 2nd and 4 from the 26. 9 seconds. Looks like they could get one more play from scrimmage called. See if they have a trick play. Rory Bryan will take. There it is. Last play of the half. Back to pass, throwing deep. Man is down there, Smallwood. Here comes the coverage, and Veach does his job, picks it off at the 40. Just when it looked like Smallwood had gotten behind the cornerback, which he did, Phil Veach, the free safety, out of nowhere, comes laterally across the field and makes the interception. That's the first half. 14-0 Derby. Plays like that show you why they're ranked second in the state. That's just a great read by Veach to prevent the long pass on the last play of the half. Should we take a break? Let's take a break. We need a break. Get some hot chocolate up here with 15 minutes of halftime ahead of you on KQAM. This is Garen Emig with Brian Sexton broadcasting live from Carpenter Stadium. It is Class 6A District 7 football on your Friday night. And the Panthers, as expected, leading underdog Wichita West at the half. 14-0. We'll analyze the first half, tell you about other high school games going on tonight in the Wichita area, talk about tomorrow in college football, and a lot more after this 2-minute timeout on KQAM.
Kansas State Bank and Trust knows that in sports, as in life, it's more than just getting the best score. It's playing fair, giving your best, and striving toward your goal that makes you the true victor. That's why Kansas State Bank and Trust is there when you need more from your bank. Regardless of your financial needs, you'll find Kansas State Bank and Trust committed to a...
Argesto stepped on after completing only 4 passes last year and rushing for all of 70 yards. He hadn't been an effective leader because he hadn't had time to play. Watson did a nice job sitting on the bench for 4 years, came in here and there to back up Carl Straw. But really, you have an untested quarterback who hadn't played a real opponent. Temple, Montana, New Mexico State, they don't have the defensive line near the caliber of the Kansas Jayhawks. And, you know, they really stuffed the ball down his throat last Saturday afternoon in Lawrence. He learned a lesson. You know, I can bet you one thing. He's going to go on a quicker snap count. He's going to drop back further, faster, and release the ball like Dan Marino does. Quick, baby, because you ain't going to knock me down. Mm-hmm. It hurt. He was sacked 9 times, 11 other tackles for losses. It was rough. He'll learn from that. I think they'll bounce back. Since Scott Mitchell left Utah State, they really haven't had much of an offensive attack. And the defense is outstanding for Kansas State, although looking at what KU did to them last week, you wouldn't know that. Brooks Barta, great linebacker.
That's a good defense.
C.J. Masters and Jamie Mendez, good defenders. Look for them to bounce back and get back into the thick of things. But you know, they've got Colorado the week after.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't get any easier for K-State.
That'll be at Boulder. And speaking of Boulder, that's the side of the big game tomorrow in the conference. And if we get time later in the broadcast, Brian, you and I will assess the Sooners and the Buffs. Folks at home know it. That's a 6:30 game. It's nationally televised. ESPN picked it up. And the last time That station's cameras were on Folsom Field. Colorado played itself into a tie with Nebraska. And a lot of people thought the Buffs would win that game. So maybe, even though there's a lot of trouble right now surrounding Gary Gibbs in Oklahoma after what happened last week at Texas, maybe
the times they are changing. That's a well-used slogan, and things are a lot different in Oklahoma. And if we get a chance, we need to address that.
Okay, right now we got to address what's going on well below us. The start of the second half, Derby won the toss to start the game. Therefore, West gets its choice, and it wants the football to start the second half. Line drive kick taken at the 25-yard line across the 30 to about 31 is Sean Fossil. Part-time fullback, part-time tight end, full-time linebacker, and now part-time kick returner as he accepts the boot from Jason Kemp and moves the Pioneers again in pretty good field position at their own 31, driving right to left to start the quarter.
Here you go, Garen. The offensive line has got to set the tone early. They have got to get penetration. They've got to move the guys out and give room for Kenny McCoy up the middle, which is a good read, and it's there when the nose guard lines up off the center to the guard. It is there. Also, Liddell Flowers has got to be able to get to the outside. The tight ends have to do a nice job containing the linebacker.
The Z-back stays in the block this time for Flowers, the tailback. That's Smallwood. Man in motion is Clint May. And on 1st and 10 from the 31, Bryan will hand to Smallwood. Fumbled football as he's belted well behind the line of scrimmage. West keeps possession. One of their big linemen fell on the pigskin back at about the 22-yard line. Credit Darrell Holt, the senior guard, with a fumble recovery, but this is not a good way to start the half. A loss from the 31 back to the 22.
Beal and Haskins penetrated right through the gaps. There was no down blocking. Garen, a down block is when you take the guy who is not necessarily in front of you, but off to either side, and the whole offensive line slants to cut them off. There was none of that. It was an easy read by the defensive coordinator for Derby, and they slanted right into the backfield.
I know Flowers starting on the bench, I believe, in the second half, Brian. The tailback is May in this formation. Kenny McCoy, the fullback, carries off right tackle. On 2nd down and 19 from the 22-yard line, he picks up 2 or 3 yards close to the 25-yard line. So interesting move by Weston Schartz, keeping Flowers on the bench, starting May, the Z-back, normally as tailback, moving Smallwood in at Z-back, keeping McCoy on the field as well as quarterback Rory Bryan. But still, not much has changed. It is 3rd down. Pioneers need the 41, and they're on their own 25. 3rd and 16. I formation behind quarterback Bryan. Drury in motion, toss sweep, right side Clint May, tried to make a cut, slipped on the turf, and therefore lost his footing and also was hammered down by Casey Wehrman, the weak side linebacker. No gain, not a good start for West with 10:15 left third quarter, trailing 14-0, 3 plays and out on their first possession.
And once again, they'll have to punt near their own end zone. About the 10-yard line is where Dane DeMebo will try and get that kick off. And you're giving Aaron Rusher the ball at his own 30-yard line, a lot of space. If they don't get a high kick, Rusher's got a lot of room to run.
Pioneers snap it back to Dane. A very short kick, wobbly. Let's see what Rusher does with it. Watches it and lets it go. Boy, inside the 40, the ball rolls dead at the 36 of Derby. I mean, they've got good field position, but again, he could have fielded that ball 5 yards upfield and had 10 or 15 on the return.
It is a little cold. The ball bounces off the turf funny when it's cold, and his hands might be a little bit cold and hard to pick up that ball. It's probably better that they leave it down if he doesn't feel comfortable going after it, Garen.
So the Panthers start at the 36. Again, the white shirts, white pants, green trim, green helmets, green numbers. Of course, if you're trying to draw a picture of the home team tonight at Wichita West High School, you could think along the lines of an Iowa State. Maroon tops, yellow pants, yellow numbers.
Or the St. Paul Indians, if anyone here watches 8-man football.
And I'm sure they've all seen Jared Grosterdeer play.
They will.
3 receivers split out this time for Tom Young's offense. Tom Shaw guides it. He's a quarterback. Single setback behind him is a fullback. That's Jason Stevens. He gets the call and is gobbled up after a gain of 1. Grabbed around the shins, more or less, by defensive tackle Jerry Corner. Also stepping in there was Fossil, the linebacker. Gain of only a yard to the 37-yard line. 2nd and 9. First possession, second half. Derby ranks 2nd right now in the state in Class 6A, only behind the Lawrence Lions. He's coaching LHS these days. Bill Freeman.
It's Dick Purdy. Come on, Brother Dick.
Don't let someone certain find out that I said that.
I'm going to call him tomorrow.
Brother Purdy. 2nd and 9 from the 37. We'll get into that later if we have time. Snap taken, toss sweep Rusher. Got a good block at the line of scrimmage. Turns the corner around the right side over the 35 to the 39, maybe the 40-yard line. Hit on the play by free safety Clint May. But it's a pretty good gain, about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. From 2nd and 9, it becomes 3rd down and 2 from the 44-yard line. Rusher, who came into the game averaging 145 yards a carry or a game, has now run 10 times and has picked up 54 yards.
starting to get those numbers that have made him an all-state candidate. Keith Reed at this end and Kenny McCoy at the other side, they've got to stretch that play out. They have got to give their defensive secondary time to make the play.
Big 3rd down and 2. Derby has double tight end look this time. It's a straight run. Give to the fullback Stevens. Spins through a tackle, and I believe has a first down across the 47-yard line, nearing the 48. Pretty good surge by the front wall that time of the home team tonight, Wichita West, but a nice spin move by the senior fullback Jason Stevens. Out of trouble. He was able to pick up a new set of downs for his teammates. 48-yard line is where the officials finally set the pigskin down. Right hash mark, and if you're watching the dial at home, thanks for doing so. You can move Derby left or right along with us.
This defense has got to create something. A long, sustained drive by Derby will just wear them down. They're tired enough as it is, and certainly a 15-minute halftime break will not get them back up to speed. You got to create a turnover.
Telltale stat, Brian. First half, 1 first down for West, 4 for Derby. That was number 5. 1st and 10. Toss sweep left side. Rusher got a block that time from his backfield mate Stevens. Around the corner he goes, across midfield, and into Wichita West territory. They'll spot the football down around the 46-yard line. That's a gain of 6 or 7 yards. Showing some speed that time. The senior tailback Aaron Rusher outrunning the pursuit. Got a good block from his fullback Stevens. That's his job, and it's 2nd down and 4 yards to go for the Panthers.
Kenny McCoy did his job. He stepped up, pushed Billy Wise back, and forced Rusher to go to the outside. The problem was Joe Norwood, with a big block on Drury, allowed Rusher to get to the sideline.
Another stat, 3rd down conversions. The Panthers 2 of 7. West 0 for 7 yet to convert. 2nd and 4, 46-yard line of West. There's a straight fullback dive play to Stevens. Belted chest high, but he still fights his way forward for 3-4 yards and near another first down. He got hit early at the point of attack by a West lineman, and I believe the man who made the impact, nose guard Jeff Van Horn, but still showing good effort. He picked up 3, 3rd down and a yard to go at the 43-yard line of the Pioneers. 6:40 left, 3rd quarter. Brian, it's 14-0. Derby in front.
And this West defense has got to make a stand here quickly. If they score, this game is, for all practical purposes, out of reach.
Here's Russell Parscale by himself wide right, double tight end set. Again, Coach Tom Young wants to run right at the defense of the Pioneers, and they're going to make their job easy this time. Jumping offside, the right defensive end. Let's see. Trying to read the number from across here. Demibo?
That looked like Demibo on the far side, unless they've got a new number in there, and that's exactly what they've got.
76.
They had Ross Sporleader in there.
All right, Sporleader picked up the flag. It's a 5-yarder. A lot of penalties in the first quarter for West, not so many in the second. It hasn't been so much the total yardage, although they have been hit 5 times for 50. It's been the timeliness of them. This is an automatic first down on 3rd and 1. Derby gets an easy one, a 5-yard penalty, and now the football is at the 37.5-yard line, really. Now the maroon and gold. Left hash mark. Again, the green and white. Derby Panthers driving from your left to right. In the I formation, Tom Shaw surveys the 5-man defensive front. Toss sweep left side. There's Rusher. Got a block that time, maybe an illegal one as the flag comes down. Rusher goes down as well at the 35, gain of 2 or 3, but this one's coming back.
Looks like it'll be a holding call against the left tackle, Jason Nelson, in there. And you could just see what an outstanding job the Derby Panthers offensive line did. There was an angle where the white jerseys cut off all of the maroon jerseys, and just a clear path to the sideline.
Brian, you mentioned late in the first quarter of tonight's game when Derby was busy using Rusher as a decoy, more or less, faking the toss sweep, trying to free up the receivers, the wideouts on slants, the tight end on the drag, and it worked for the touchdown. You said that it wouldn't be that case the entire night, that sooner or later they were going to make the pitch to Rusher. Now that the West defense is a little bit tired and a little bit down, trailing by 2 touchdowns with an offense that's doing nothing, they don't need the decoy anymore. Yeah.
You're exactly right. They don't. They've got the options out there. They can throw the ball. They've got Stevens in the backfield. Why not try and tire them down with these guys and then beat them to death with your best horse, and that is Aaron Rusher, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. It's hard to go after that speed when you're so used to getting beat up the middle. They've got to be kept honest.
Spotted the football after the infraction at the 46-yard line. Sets up 1st down and 18. There's another fake sweep, pumping and throwing deep. Shaw over the head of Russell Parscale. His junior split in, incomplete. Coverage provided by cornerback Ron Stubbs. 2 fakes that time from Shaw. First he deked the toss out to Rusher, and then he pump fake, trying to get the cornerback Stubbs frozen.
Nice pressure by Kenny McCoy, but even better blocking by the offensive line. He had at least 5 seconds to toss that ball up. Kenny McCoy put on his best effort. He was able to pump the ball twice before having to throw it, and that is a credit to the white shirts on the line.
2nd and 18, 46 of Wichita West High School. Shaw, if you're wondering, now 3 of 11 for a touchdown and an interception and 38 yards. Now Rusher out of the backfield. He's now a flanker right off the line of scrimmage. Single setback. Stevens, a fullback, gets the call around the left end, and he slips and falls as he tries to cut inside of the tackle attempt by linebacker Sean Fossil. Sean won't get credit for a stop, but he's the one who created the slip down by Jason Stevens at the 43-yard line. Gain of 3, and it's 3rd and 15 for the Panthers.
That was a huge penalty for West. Now they've got him in a 3rd and long situation at their own 44-yard line. They can put pressure knowing full well that that ball is going to be put in the air. Problem is, just when you think it is, they'll drop it off to Aaron Rusher. Here's where it helps. But he's lined out to the outside. Looks like they'll put the ball up in the air and try and come up with a first down.
Parskell wide right. A guy we haven't seen much of tonight, but a very dangerous receiver. Billy Weiss is split way wide right. And on 3rd and 15, rolling to his right is Wise. Gets a good block, keeps the football. Here comes a second wave of attackers. They miss him, though, at the 40. And inside the 40 to the 35-yard line is Shaw. Still going. Whistles going. Tempers flaring on the field right now.
Ron Stubbs picked Tom Shaw up. Kept on driving him back. Looked like he was going to try and plant him into the turf after the whistles had been blown. What a great pickup. He just kept on his feet. He was not about to be brought down. Now it's 4th down and about 5 yards to go. And instead of having to punt, they can go for it. 4th and 5, you're going to give them the ball at their own 30-yard line. And West has had, or rather shown no signs that they're going to move the ball.
One 4th down try was 4th and about 23 in the first half. A failed try by Derby, but again, with the ineffectiveness of the Pioneers offense, sure, Tom Young figures why not. This is makeable. 4th down from the 33-yard line of the Pioneers. Crowd trying to get into it below us on the west side. 4th and 5, they need to 28. Double tight end formation. Man by himself, wide left. That's Veach. Stevens and Rusher in the backfield. There's a quick toss. All alone, Stevens out in the flat. 25-20, needs a block, gets one. 15-10, down the sideline, into the end zone for the touchdown. Goes fullback Jason Stevens. What a great play by the Derby offense. Well designed. They snuck Stevens out of the backfield when West was thinking run. They got the pass. And a 33-yard touchdown
They
play.
allowed the pressure to come. It was almost like a screen pass, and nothing was on the outside. Stevens got all the way down. A nice block by the wide receiver on the far side. Allowed him to score.
Second touchdown pass of the game for Tom Shaw.
West has had their opportunities tonight. Derby, though, is capitalizing on theirs.
And remember, that was on 4th and 5. They just snuck Stevens out in the flat. He got a great block from Beach downfield and got in. Extra point try is this time perfect from the place kicker, Jason Kemp. And with 4:03 left in the 3rd quarter, there's a touchdown that Brian alluded to as something that West simply could not afford to give up. Trailing by 3, it's 21-0 here at Carpenter Stadium. Let's see, that's an 11-play drive. It covered 64 yards and 5 minutes, 42 seconds, according to our one of our producers. We've got a couple here in the booth tonight. This is also a nice change of pace from Southeast Kansas 8-man
It's a little bit different, isn't it? You get to like it.
What about that scholarship?
Well, let's see. Kansas State Bank and Trust, Cellular 1, Wichita State, KQAM, scholarship. It's a $1,000 scholarship. Could anyone entering Wichita State, the Wichita State University, in the fall of 1993? For details, call KQAM Monday through Friday at 838-7744 or stop by any Kansas State Bank and Trust location for an application. The Wichita State KSB&T Cellular 1 KQAM scholarship.
Now the squib kick by Kemp, taken by Smallwood, and his knee went down, and that's a shame because Smallwood, one of the quicker players on the roster, had a wedge up the middle set up by the special teams of West, but when he went to a knee to pick up the squib kick, he's called down at the 21-yard line. Nothing right now going right for Weston Schartz and company.
I don't think we've seen the offense move at all this entire game. Every time it seems like they had something going, a penalty has brought it back. It's time to pull the tricks out. If you want to get back into this contest, you need some trick plays, but Derby's going to be ready for them.
Total yardage is lopsided right now. West, which had over 100 yards in the first half, about 175, and I've got, I'm sorry, that's Derby. West is the team that's going nowhere with just about 40. Give to the tailback and slipping forward for a pickup of 5 through basically no hole. Jeremy Benford did a great job as they tried their third tailback of the night. The sophomore Benford, 5'8", 175, and he got 5 yards to the 26. One of the real positive gains, actually, on the night for Benford, who's now carried 3 times for a net gain of 6 yards out of that backfield. Ron Stubbs, wide right. Smallwood, Mike Smallwood, comes wide left. I formation, tight I behind Rory The quarterback, another give to Benford, and he fumbled the football. Someone shook it loose after a 2-yard pickup. It appears that the Pioneers fell on it. And that time we've seen an obvious tackle of the football by the front wall of the green and white of Derby. The first few times just hard hits. Shoulder pad and helmet on chest. That time they were actually reaching in with their bare hands and trying to strip Benford of the football. Someone for West got on it. It might have been Benford himself. And it'll be 3rd down. And about 3 yards to go from the 28-yard line.
Well, they certainly would like to get a first down here, keep the ball moving, and at least keep the ball out of Derby's hands, not let them run the score up anymore. Really, for all practical purposes, Wichita West is out of this contest, but you never want to say that too early.
No.
However, if you look at the stats, Derby is starting to come alive.
Smallwood wide left. This is Drury wide right on 3rd down and 3 back to pass. They set up that flanker screen. That's Drury with a catch. He got a block, has a first down, and is being belted by 3 different white shirts as he approaches the 35-yard line. That's a play that worked for a touchdown in the first half, only to be called back due to penalty. This time it doesn't get 28, 30 yards, but does pick up enough for a first down. The second of the game for the Pioneers with 2:14 left in the 3rd quarter.
And we knew we'd see that play again, and we probably will see it on into the 4th quarter. The problem right now, if you're Wichita West, is you're not playing consistent enough football. Any given play, their offensive line can create a hole. Problem is they're not doing it.
That's the first down of the half, the second of the game. As I mentioned, players shaken up that time for Derby was... you go to the roster, I think. I don't think I have 73 on my depth chart. Oh, yeah, I do. Pat Davis, okay. Listed on the offensive line, not supposed to play much defensively in that time, giving a starter a break, and he is walking off on his own power. Just got the wind knocked out of him, it would appear. So from the 36... on the left hash, driving right to left, West sets up shot. Pitch play right side is to Benford, and he's going to be dragged down from behind. Great pursuit, but a very quick defensive end. Joe Norwood got him. David DeVore, a backup linebacker, also in on that tackle for the Panthers. They really swarm after you on those toss
They
sweeps.
really do, and it's all due to Joe Norwood. He'll stand you up at the line of scrimmage, stretch the play out to the sideline, and allow the linebackers and the rest of the secondary to fill, and there's just nowhere to go. Even if you break through, there's a second wave of defenders there to pull you down.
Clint May splits to the left. This is Ron Stubbs to the right. Tie-dye formation behind junior quarterback Rory Bryan. Having a tough night throwing the football. That was his first completion moments ago. 1 of 6 now. Fake toss sweep. Slant pattern. May's open. He has it. First down and more. Inside the 50 to the 46. Goes Clint May, the Z-back. Split wide left. He ran a simple slant down the middle of the field. Good throw that time by the junior Bryan. And just as I say that he's having trouble throwing, he's completed his last 2 passes for 2 Wichita West first downs.
Well, Weston Sharps will be the first to tell you he's not an outstanding thrower, but he does have a nice touch on the ball. If you give him time, he'll be patient, look for his receiver. That time, May was the guy wide open.
15-yard pickup on the pass to May, his first catch. And now in the Derby side of the field for the first time in a while comes West from the 46. They go back to the straight-ahead handoff to tailback Jeremy Benford. He got 2 at the most to about the 44-yard line.
Spot. It looks like just about 1. They're going to get it right on the 45-yard line.
Benford now 6 carries, Bryan 10 yards in a game. He too had ankle troubles earlier in the season, and when he's healthy is a very explosive runner. Sitting down at the line of scrimmage, middle linebacker Jason Young, a name we haven't called much tonight. He hasn't been on a whole lot of tackles individually, but he has clogged from his middle linebacker position the middle of the offensive line, and territory in which, of course, Weston Sharps would like to utilize tonight, and now he's being attended to again, sitting straight up at the line of scrimmage, which is the 45 of Derby. The Panthers on the board with 40 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, own a 21-0 lead.
Well, you have a chance for more injuries in this cold weather because this ground is hard and doesn't give. Your spikes will dig down in, and if your knee twists around, it's not like if it's 80, 90 degrees outside and the ground will give way. So it looks like he just turned an ankle, and now he's walking off on his own power.
Last week the Panthers beat Newton 27-13. Again, they've been victimized by Garden City the last 2 years in the postseason. The number 2 team in the state the last 2 years, Garden City, in 1990 and 91. Great program built.
We'll
by
see
Tom
them
Young.
next week.
Yeah, big game at Northwest Field as Don Davis looks to square off with an old nemesis, Garden City. Garden City has a big game tonight at Dodge City.
Doesn't get any easier. Those guys out west play a real tough schedule, and I think that actually favors Garden City over Northwest simply because they're playing the Manhattans and Junction Cities week in and week out.
Up and off on his own power was Young, 2nd and 9 for the 45 of Derby. Pitch play, Flowers, trick play. He's going to throw. He has a man deep. It is up and dropped at the 16-yard line. Toby Drury got twisted around running the fly pattern down the boundary along with cornerback Russell Parskell of Derby. The pass, not too bad from Flowers for a tailback anyway.
No, it really was. The problem was, again, Drury slowed down about the 15-yard line, didn't keep going and try and get beyond his receiver.
Drury will now get a breather. A little bit upset with himself. He had his hands on the football. Problem is, again, he had his back to the end zone. Got twisted around in an uncomfortable, unfamiliar position to catch the pigskin. 3rd and 9. Straight drop this time by Bryant. Another slant pass. Picked off, and he's got room. Coming the other way, Young, the man who was just hurt, fumbles the football, and I think West might have it at the 40-yard line of West. Nope, Derby got it back. Strange turn of events right there. The slant pass intended for Clint May was picked off by Young, the middle linebacker, hurt not long ago. He returned into West territory to the 40, was hit, fumbled the football, and then his teammate, David DeVore, fell on it, and Derby gets the football on the turnover.
There was no reason to throw that ball. Clint May was slanting into coverage. Young just simply stepped up right where the ball was thrown and took it away. And that's the way the breaks are going. That ball was clearly fumbled by Young on a nice hit. Somebody was quick, got it back.
And before the Panthers can run another play, we've exhausted our time in the third quarter. Derby leading 21-0 with 12 minutes to play at South High School, Carpenter Stadium. We'll be back with more on KQAM in 1 minute.
A cellular phone is good to have when your car breaks down, when you're running late, or during major emergencies. And in business, it can save you time looking for a payphone. Cellular One is the leader in technology and service. They have better tower placement, which translates to clearer phone reception. Call Cellular One at 686-2355 or stop by the office at Central and Woodland. There's only one cellular phone, Cellular One.
Kansas State Bank and Trust knows that in sports, as in life, it's more than just getting the best score. It's playing fair, giving your best, and striving toward your goal that makes you the true victor. That's why Kansas State Bank and Trust is there when you need more from your bank. Regardless of your financial needs, you'll find Kansas State Bank and Trust committed to a level of informed advice, personal service, and speedy response that you just won't find anywhere else. Kansas State Bank and Trust is there to help with 7 locations to serve you in Wichita.
Hello, folks. We're back at Carpenter Stadium. Guerin and Bryan, the combination in tonight's call on KQAM, Wichita Sports Authority. Derby ranked 2nd in Class 6A football in Kansas, tacking on 7 more points in the third quarter. They've scored 1 touchdown in each of the first 3 quarters and therefore lead 21-0 as we begin the 4th and final period. 1st and 10 following the interception. Fake sweep. Back to pass is Tom Shaw, but he won't even have time because Mike Smallwood got him again. The strong safety blitz working for the 2nd time tonight. A loss back to the 47-yard line sets up 2nd and 17.
A great job by Toby Drury. He did not allow his man to get to the outside, and I'm going to have to pick up the roster to find out who it was. It was Russell Parskell.
All right.
I asked for you for the pronunciation on that. Didn't allow him to get to the outside, and that gave Mike Smallwood plenty of time to key on Tom Shaw.
2nd sack for Smallwood in the game, accounting for a loss totally of 15 yards. It's now 2nd and 17. They go back to the I rusher and Stevens behind Shaw. Looks at a 5-man defensive front. Play action, back to pass, throws it short. Stevens out of the backfield is open again. 40, 35, slips for tackles 30. Has a first down, I think, at about the 26-yard line. Might be just shy of it. There is senior fullback Jason Stevens coming out of nowhere. No coverage from the linebackers that time, and he picks up a big gainer, a first down and 10 on 2nd and 17.
And Guerin, that's what a good team will do to you. They'll mix up their offense, come with the short ball, look for the long ball. However, Stevens has great ability, stayed on his feet, and he single-handedly picked up that first down.
Shaw now 5 of 13, 98 yards. Not a bad night. A touchdown pass, 2 touchdown passes, a 2-point conversion pass.
They started slow, Guerin, but they're really showing you just how good a ball club they are here in the 4th quarter.
On the left hash now, Derby in the green or white, going right to left in the final quarter. There's a 3-step drop. Shaw with a quick out, caught and dropped at the 20-yard line. Good defense that time by corner Toby Drury on the intended receiver. Split in Billy Weiss of the Panthers. He couldn't hang on because of the helmet in his gut. Planted there nicely by Drury. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Driving him well out of bounds. Good defense. Backed up at their own 25-yard line. If West wants to make it respectable, they've got to create something for themselves here. And we've said that all night long. The problem is, every time they create something, like a sack on Tom Shaw, the Derby Panthers come back with a big play.
Interesting that Tom Young not running clock, going with confident with a 3-touchdown lead in the way his defense is playing. He's going to go ahead and let Shaw work the kinks out of his passing game.
You'll need it. They don't have a particularly tough district, the Derby Panthers, but once Garden City rolls around, it's time to play. And as I mentioned before the last break, those guys, they play a tough schedule week in and week out.
Beach wide left, Parskell wide right. We've seen the same two backs the entire game behind Shaw. Rusher the tail, Stevens a full. We've also seen a 5-2 defense exclusively from the West D. And there is a toss to Rusher, the left side, the short side of the field. Doesn't produce much room. He got maybe 2 yards on sheer effort. Good job of the front line, and as usual, defensive end Kenny McCoy was one of those there. Here comes a late flag. I believe some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Derby.
Something was said. Something was said by one of the Derby players back to Jeff Van Horn. Van Horn wisely shut up, and unsportsmanlike conduct will back him up 15 yards. You know, if Derby, or rather West, had a touchdown here, that would be a big deal. Fortunately for Derby, they could somewhat afford that. But you know, Tom Young and any other high school football coach won't stand for that type of action.
Not at this point of the game when you're leading 21-0, 10.5 minutes to go. Don't need that. The play carried, I believe, to about the 24, the sweep to Rusher. They'll spot 15 yards off the other way from the point of attack, and so it becomes now a dead ball foul. Therefore, there is the loss of the down. 3rd down from the 39-yard line. And they're looking at 3rd and 23, I believe, if my math is right. 3rd and 23. Yep.
Still, it's no obstacle that the Derby Panthers can't overcome.
No.
They've showed the ability with that short outlet pass to Stevens or the tight end to pick up big yardage.
Yeah, Stevens the only back now in this set. Flanker is Rusher to the right side. Back to pass is Shaw. Has plenty of time. Uncorks a throw long and misses Rusher at the first down marker, the 16-yard line. Good coverage back there. Ron Stubbs helping out his teammates. Keith Reed, the defensive end, dropped back in coverage. Was also back there with free safety. Clint May doing his job, and now it's 4th down.
So that's a tendency that a lot of defensive ends have. When they see good pass protection, they'll drop back. What Keith Reed needed to do was continue the pressure on Tom Shaw and keep coming at him. That Derby offensive line has done a nice job, but you can't let off at all.
Here's something we haven't seen in a while, the punt from Shelby Werman. It'll be uncorked from his own 45 on 4th down. At this stage of the game, Tom Young wants his defense back on the field. Ron Stubbs, Toby Drury, a pair of senior wide receivers. Twins to receive the kick. A sidewinding try by Werman is kicked away from the 2 deep men. Now it takes a turn for the worse if you're West and actually stays in bounds long enough to pick up 5 more yards before it's deadened at the 10-yard line. Ball was headed out of bounds at about the 15. Instead, it crawled forward to the 10, and I believe that's Jason Young, Brian, if I'm not mistaken, lying on his stomach now, back at the line of scrimmage, at the 42-yard line.
Well, he is moving a little bit.
Man.
It looks like he's holding his leg. No, his arm. Maybe his collarbone, something.
Geez,
he took a hit.
Yeah, well, this is not good if you're Coach Tom Young, your middle linebacker, Jason Young, who moments ago suffered a slight injury, was out for 1 play, came back in long enough to make an interception of a slant attempt from Rory Bryan of West, returned to 20 yards, and then now they're looking around the left ankle, it appears. They're working in the lower extremities, which is good below the knee. You like to see that, but he's not doing real well right now, lying on his back with, again, 9:56 left in this Class 6A District 7 contest. The Derby Panthers 6-0, Wichita West coming in with a record of 3-3. Next week, by the way, if you're a West follower, you will be in Will's injury, a torn knee ligament.
It hurts
early
when
in
it's
the
cold
season.
outside.
Yeah.
I mean, it hurts even more to go sit on that cold metal bench.
3 backs behind Rory Bryan from his own 10. Following the punt, turns, gives to McCoy off left tackle. Ball squirted loose. Derby recovered.
And that's the way it's gone.
Across the 10 at about the 12-yard line, McCoy had been the reliable back in the Weston Sharks backfield before that miscue. And once again, not only is West turning the ball over on the fumble, but at the worst possible place, deep in their own territory. At the 12 in this case. That's their first fumble loss of the second half. The 3rd, though, of tonight's ball game. And again, the first one of the game has set the tone. That was the one by Flowers that led directly to the touchdown. So now the Derby offense is hustled back onto the field. Tom Shaw will take a look at the defense in a 7-man offensive front. And the clock will stop at 9:24 because we have the official stopping the clock, and Weston Sharks calls timeout. We'll take it as well. 1-minute timeout here. After the timeout, we go back to work, 1st and 10 following the fumble. Second turnover, by the way, in 3 second-half possessions for the Pioneers of West High School. Junior quarterback Tom Shaw behind center, 7-man offensive front, looking at a 6-man defensive line now for West, and it's straight-ahead smash-mouth football. Give to the tailback, Aaron Rusher, over left tackle, has 4 or 5 yards inside the 10. to about the 7-yard line. Clint May, the free safety, the first guy to get him around the thighs. And it will be 2nd down and 5 yards to go.
You know, it just underscores the importance of field position in this game. Had Wichita West been able to move the ball and force a punt from back inside Derby's territory, they might have given the ball up about the 30-35. Problem is, they've been down inside their own territory so much tonight. Every opportunity is a good one for Derby.
And check this out. Another player with a green helmet is sitting at the line of scrimmage and not moving a whole lot, up on his hands right now, and I think that might be the fullback Jason Stevens from my vantage point, Brian, and that is another player that Tom Young doesn't want to see hurt.
It's either Stevens or
Stewart is out, at least for the start of the game.
In my opinion, you've got two former powers in the Big Eight. Neither one of them have been truly tested this year, and it'll be the first opportunity to see who's going to go for second place in the Big Eight.
Okay, 2nd and 5. As jogging off, fortunately, on his own power was Stevens. And now a flag comes down, is with the football, and into the end zone is a sub at fullback. Nice entrance by William Beal, who is a nose guard on defense. And let's see what the flag's all about. This might come back. It might come back. Flag came down. We have a dead ball illegal procedure against the Panthers. So wipe out the 7-yard touchdown scamper from Beal. Bless his heart, he plays a great defensive game, gets the call after replacing the injured Stevens, and scores, and finds out that it was all practice. So it's a 5-yard infraction against Derby, and it will bring up 2nd and 10 from the 12-yard line of West.
You can just see that West defense are not as quick off the ball. They're not getting as good a penetration as they had in the past. And once you get past the first wave of defenders, really, you can pick your way towards the end zone.
Beal forming a great front four defensively for the Derby defense. They got Jason Nelson, Joe Norwood on the end, Scott Haskins, kind of the quiet member of that front four. 3 linebackers, Young, Wehrman, Casey Wehrman, and Jason Stevens. Beach, Parscale, Rusher, and Wise in the backfield. Again, no real superstar defensively, but they all play so sound fundamentally. All very quick, all go to the football. 2nd and 10 after the 5-yard penalty. As a quick hitter once again to Beal, the fullback, off right tackle. He is thrown down after a gain of 2, maybe 3 yards on the play. Devin DeMebo, the senior, 245, another big guy on that front wall for head coach Weston Schartz. Made the hit initially. 3rd down now and 8 from the 10. 8.5 minutes left in the contest. Derby cruising 21-0 over West. And here's Tom Young calling timeout. We'll take it. Back after this 1-minute pause, you're listening to KQAM Wichita.
A cellular phone is good to have when your car breaks down.
Straight win this season, and it appears that it's on its way. 21-0 with 8:27 left after the timeout. The Panthers get serious. 3rd down and 8 from the 10-yard line of West High School from Wichita. Steady quarterback Tom Shaw under center. Back to pass. The blitz is on. He has time. Throws a corner route, and it's picked off at the 5-yard line. Fumbling the football at the 10 is Drury. Bodies after the loose football at the 13, and fortunately for the Pioneers, they fall on it. Great break again on the football by corner Toby Drury. The pass intended for Weiss, who was running an out pattern near the corner of the end zone. Not a real good throw by Shaw, but again, the thing about that play was the break that Drury was able to make on the football.
He's got outstanding speed. Problem was he was concentrating too much on the end zone, let go of the ball, trying to get around the block. But that's all right. He got it out. He saved a touchdown. They've got it at the 14. Another chance for West to try and gain a little bit of respectability. Something now to look at in the film session next week.
First interception for Drury, the other cornerback, has played a good game. Senior Ron Stubbs has the other. They both victimized Tom Shaw. Now Rory Bryan will try to get his offense going at the 14-yard line of West High School. I formation intact. Bryan back to pass, the right-hander. Coxon fires. Down the middle of the field, incomplete. He overthrew wide out Ron Stubbs by about 5 yards at the 35-yard line.
Problem was, Stubbs was too busy mixing it up with Justin Igo, that junior cornerback, and he was not cutting towards the ball. It was a catchable ball right down the middle, and with Stubbs' speed, he could have scored had he caught it.
7:52 to go in tonight's contest. Z-backs rotated in and out right now for Coach Schartz. Clint May gets a break. Mike Smallwood is in. He comes wide right. They're operating one man short, Brian. You notice this? 10 men in the offensive set this time.
Well, they've been at a disadvantage all night. This certainly is the worst kind, one you impose on yourself.
Benford takes a pitch, heads around right in from the 14, picks up positive yardage to about the 13. Another tackle for weak side linebacker Casey Wehrman, a senior, 6 foot 185. He has been everywhere tonight. Scott Haskins over there to make sure that Benford stayed down. 3-yard pickup. Jeremy now 7 carries, 13 yards. Lido Flowers, who had 137 last week, 5 for 7, and he hasn't seen much action in the second half. In fact, the only time he's had his hand on the football was when he was used in a halfback pass. From the 17. Maroon and gold going left to right on the right hash mark. Face 3rd and 7. Out of the backfield, limping in motion is Benford. Perhaps that ankle acting up again. They toss to the left side. And that is Smallwood getting the ball. He's cut down after a gain of a yard, maybe 2, before he is swarmed under by a couple of Derby players. Dave DeVore, the first guy to get him. It'll be punting time again for the Pioneers.
Once again, it's just great pursuit. The entire Derby defense is moving towards the ball. The defensive end and the outside linebacker pushing the play to the sideline, forcing him to string it out and run lateral before turning it upfield. It's a very talented team.
Sure it is. Benford trying to limp off before the snap can be taken by punter Dane DeMebo. On 4th down and 6 yards to go from the 18-yard line. He's kicking. I'm not sure Rusher's back there anymore. Let's see. There's the boot. Yep, Aaron's going to get this one on a couple of hops. Now he's going to let it go again inside the 40. So thanks to the kind roll, a pretty good kick yardage-wise for DeMebo. He thought he was roughed up a little bit after booting the football away. No flag came down, and the Derby High School Panthers will once again set up shop in pretty good shape, field position-wise. 6:21 left in the contest. And again, Derby is about 6:21 away, it would appear, from going 7-0 and sending West below 500. Remember, the Pioneers last year went 3-6. Be a nice psychological boost if they could improve on that record heading into next year. But they would have loved nothing more to pick up their 4th win and get over the 3-win total of last season with an upset of the highly regarded Derby Panthers here tonight.
Well, they will lose a lot of size next year. Josh Parker, 1 at 6'5", 290 pounds, is gone. He'd certainly like to go out a winner.
Well, before we can run another play, timeout call. We'll take it. This time it's Tom Davis and Derby. So we'll return to Carpenter Stadium on KQAM after this 60-second timeout.
Of high prices.
See the super dealer. No one else can give you more. No one else can give you more. No one else can give you more. No one else can give you more.
Derby High School after the timeout. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line with 6:21 left in the contest. Keeping their first-string quarterback Tom Shaw in the lineup. Aaron Rusher still in. And Aaron has the football and is still going. Disappearing under a pile of players, he kept the legs moving forward and picked up a 1st down across midfield nonetheless. 13 yards, says Brian Sexton. So Rusher on sheer guts and effort alone, picking up a big play on 1st down off the right side. Stevens, who, by the way, left the game on the last possession for Derby, is back in at fullback. Good sign for the Panthers, as they continue to just run right at a very tired Wichita West defense. A gallant group that has played well tonight, but just simply couldn't hold on long enough.
They spent too much time on the field tonight, Garen. Their offense has not moved the ball, and consequently, a lot of these guys that go both ways are just about to drop.
Rusher, looking for 100 tonight, has 14 totes unofficially for 84 yards. And now is out of the game, so perhaps that'll be his final carry. 7-man offensive line from the 48. There goes Stevens with another tote across the 45. Drags a pile forward with him to about the 44-yard line before a swarm of maroon shirts can get him and down him. Jeff Van Horn, the nose guard, one of the first guys there. Here's a player who'll be back next year. There are a lot of, as you mentioned, they're going to lose some size up there with some senior graduation, but Jerry Corner, Jeff Van Horn, and Kenny McQuay will be back up front. Both linebackers, the 2 Shawns, Jay and Fossil, should return. Mike Smallwood will be a senior. Rory Bryan, Lido Flowers, Jeremy Benford, all on offense will be back.
And these are guys that played a lot last year. So some experience back for West, and hopefully Coach Weston Sharts can turn it into some wins.
2nd and 6, 4-yard run for Stevens. Moves the football to the 44. Toss sweep, tailback right side is tripped up. Nice tackle that time by Ron Stubbs, the cornerback, reading run, as Derby showing nothing but right now with a 7-man offensive line. Justin Igo, 5'9", 161-pound junior with his first carry. Picked up +1, basically, to the 43-yard line. It's 3rd and 5.
If you're Tom Young right now, it took you till the 3rd quarter for your offensive line to really get in sync. You want to keep them in this ball game, give them a chance to get everything going, and really, something that they can watch on film that's positive. In the first quarter and a half, they really didn't work together, but now they're doing it. So give them another 5 minutes just to work together.
3rd and 5 from the 43-yard line of West. I formation and on 3rd and 5, back to pass, rolling out to his left side. The right-handed quarterback Shaw under a rush, throws incomplete, intended for his tight end Norwood. Floating down the middle of the field. Good rush that time. Safety blitz once again by Mike Smallwood. Kenny McCoy was back there, and so was Devin DeMebo. They got to him that time and forced a 3rd and 5 incomplete pass.
Well, he went on that naked bootleg out to the far side. Certainly, Mike Smallwood has the speed to come all the way across the field and pull him down.
So for the, let's see, unofficially the 6th time tonight. Doesn't seem like Shelby Werman has punted 6 times, but this will be number 6. Back on his own 41-yard line, 4th and 5 with 4:37 to go. Derby comfortably in front, 21-0. Dame DeMebo has been a busy punter for West. He has unofficially kicked 7 times. High snap, pulled down by Werman. The right-footed kick is wobbly, hangs up there pretty well. Taken by Drury. He fumbles the football, picked up on the run at the 15 to the 10 to the 5 and in the end zone for a Derby touchdown. If they give the, I'm so used to seeing muffs in college and the NFL, I'm not so sure I'm ready to give the Panthers a touchdown. The ball was fumbled away by Drury, picked up on the dead run by a special teams player for Derby. He carried it in about 16 yards.
He has a hard time holding on to that ball.
Yeah, Drury's, even after the interception, he fumbled the football trying to race down to the other end of the field.
Now, I think they're going to say he was down because you're not supposed to be able to advance a fumble. But they've changed that rule so many times, it's hard to tell.
I think that they might be able to.
In college, you can now. I don't know that they did in high school.
I think
but the referee's right there at about the 10-yard line, which is where the fumble was picked up.
That can make it easy on me because I didn't see who scored the touchdown. We'd have to go look for the guy who was just glorified if they don't allow the touchdown. It looks like they're trying to figure out where to spot the football.
I don't think you can advance it in high school football. You can in college now. That rule was just added this year.
And then you've got the muff versus the fumble, and you hear that the boo is going up from across the way. The Derby fans wanted a touchdown. And so they spotted back at the point of fumble, 17-yard line with 4:25 to go. Still another turnover.
You know, the one thing that high school coaches teach is to fumble the ball yourself. Keep pushing it forward. Don't pick it up. If you don't have possession of it and you're knocking it towards the goal line, they can't call it down. But once you actually have possession of the ball, you're down.
West now has 3 turnovers in this half, 6 turnovers in the game. They had 2 fumbles and an interception in the first half, 4 fumbles and 2 interceptions in the contest, and they have lost. They've lost 4 fumbles. They've actually put it on the ground 7 times. So with one more chance to score, DHS going right to left from the 17. May will take from center. That's Shaw, I'm sorry. I don't know where I got. Gives this first man through. That's Beal, the fullback, got a yard or 2. And they'll just run the clock. I think that's the most important thing right now. Get everyone out of the cold. And
well, you don't want to risk any stupid injuries either, not when you have a 21-point lead. It's about time to bring in your second-team offensive line and your backup quarterback. Besides that, here late in the fourth quarter with the win already sewn up, why not give a young guy a chance to play?
Billy Weiss comes wide left, 7-man offensive front, 6 or 7 guys up there for the maroon and gold on 2nd down and 8 from the 15. Igo and Beal now form the I behind junior quarterback Tom Shaw. Tosses right side, Igo, good pursuit, hops over the first pile of tacklers, and then falls down at about the 13. Gain of 2, 3rd and 6, 3:20 to go, 21-0. Derby looking to go 7-0 and clinch its number 2 ranking in the state for another week. Looks like they're going to do just that tonight.
You know, the other thing you want to consider if you're Tom Young, if something should happen to Shaw in the next 2 or 3 games, you'd like to have somebody with some experience in game-like conditions that can come in and relieve and run your offense. But he's going to go with Shaw, figuring that they need to work the kinks out that came with the first quarter and really the first half of this game.
3rd down and 5 from the 13, fullback. Beal put it on the ground, fumble, and there is a recovery this time for the Wichita West defense. Ron Stubbs, a cornerback, found a gift, courtesy of second-string fullback William Beal. So the game getting sloppy, as often is the case when you've got reserves on the field. That's the 2nd turnover of the half on the on Derby, the Panthers. 4 turnovers in the ball game. 2:43 to go. It'd be nice to see West mount some sort of a drive here, get on the board perhaps before they call it quits tonight. Let's see if they can't mount one more charge. Rory Bryan once again is taking a look at a 4-man defensive front, now 5. as Werman hugs the line of scrimmage. Second man through is a tailback. That's Clint May, and he's gobbled up after a gain of 1 at the most, 220 and counting.
I think actually he lost a yard on the play.
Wichita West. They've lost Brian on the year to Dodge City and Northwest. They have played a tough schedule as far as the area is concerned. In talking to Coach Sharts this week, he said we played really one lousy game this year. Lost to North, the game he thought they should have won. So it's pretty.
This Dodge game, if you didn't talk to Sharts, they had a 6-point lead with 8 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. They got a bad snap from center, and really Dodge, being a good team, capitalized on the mistake.
2nd and 11. On the roll out to the right side. There's Bryan tossing down to his tight end. Fossil makes a catch, buries a tackler, and there is a first down. Sean Fossil, tight end, does a great job, goes to the 33-yard line. There's your first down, 15-yard pickup.
Again, Bryan will not beat you with the deep ball, but he is smart. He waited for Fossil to come open across the middle and delivered. He also had Mike Smallwood, but realized that his arm on the run, it would be better suited to throw it to Fossil.
No-huddle offense from the 33, snap from center, fumbled, and there, folks, is the game in a nutshell. After a 15-yard positive play, the pass to Fossil, the center snap exchange between Bryan and Nate Hendren goes awry. It's recovered, the fumble, by nose guard William Beal, playing where he should, right over the center. He picked up a freebie, and there is your 7th turnover of the game against the Maroon and Gold with 1:29 to go. Derby takes over at the 34 of Wichita West. I would think that, again, in talking about some of the previous losses this year, that Weston Sharps would rank this right up there with the North game as frustrating. The team just did not play well.
They could have very easily been in this game. They gave up some turnovers deep in their own territory, a couple of mental mistakes, penalties, kept them from having a touchdown. It could be a lot better game.
On the 34, we do have a new quarterback in, and he's throwing the football. Out it goes, a slant to Parscale, and he has near first down yardage across the 25 to the 24. It's about 10 yards with 54 seconds to go.
Nice touch on the ball.
Barry Galbraith, and he's only a sophomore. 5'10", 137 is the new signal caller.
That's what you want to see. The young guys getting in, that's what football is all about, especially at the high school level. But you want to have a guy who can come in and spell you if Tom Shaw gets hurt. You never know when that's going to happen.
11-yard pickup. That's Galbraith to Parscale, his first catch. 40 seconds to go. So Derby with its second-string offense in. And Galbraith at the helm, trying to drive perhaps for one more score, leading 21-0. Short drop. Galbraith, another out pattern. Caught this time by Veach. Well, they're keeping their first-string receivers in the game. Nice catch by senior Phil Veach at the 16. He's wrestled out of bounds on a play by Sean Jay, the dropping back linebacker. 28 ticks left. I'm not sure if Weston Sharts appreciates the throwing with less than a minute to go, but at the same time, he might understand that, again, with the new offense, you want to go ahead and give Galbraith
these guys aren't in the city league, so you won't see them atop the stats or anything like that. It's not like they're just playing for it, but, you know.
So from the 17-yard line, we have 2nd and 3 on the 7-yard pickup. Clock is still frozen as the receiver Veach was driven out of bounds on that last catch from Galbraith. They're still in the I formation, by the way, and this will be a run. Very ugly-looking run. Toss sweep to Igo, and he is nailed from behind. Smallwood, only 5'6", 150, but he is the hardest hitter on the defensive side, at least tonight. He has made 2 very tough quarterback sacks. That time came from one side of the field, hustling all the way, chased down Igo, the ball carrier, dropped him for a loss, and that's probably going to do it for tonight's game. 8 seconds and counting. And unless anyone's in any hurry to run one more play, we're going to get out of here with a final score being 21-0. It's history. Derby has come to Wichita and beaten the West High School Pioneers 21-0, scoring a touchdown in the first, second, and third quarters, capitalizing on several mistakes, both in turnovers and penalties, made by West High School, dropping that team to 3-4. Derby now 7-0, and you can count on one thing: unless Lawrence slips tonight against Shawnee Heights, they'll still be number 2 in the state.
And Lawrence should beat Shawnee Heights rather easily
come Monday morning. We'll wrap things up, give you a final analysis, and wrap up of tonight's game as KQAM's coverage of high school football districts time returns after this two-minute timeout.
Rick's Rib Rack, the only place you can get real hickory smoked barbecue, now has a new location at 608 East Douglas. On Friday and Saturday nights, enjoy all-you-can-eat ribs for only $6.50 and $1.50 for Bud Light, and Bud Dry.